Good afternoon and welcome to Beaumont Park here in Leicester, home of the De Montfort University American football outfit. We're here this afternoon for the latest instalment of British Premier League football here. We've got the Leicester Falcons taking on the Edinburgh Wolves this afternoon. I'm joined by Carl Walkinshaw. Afternoon, Carl.
Hi Matt, good to see you. Hoping the rain stays away.
Well, this beautiful British summer continues after the deluge we've had over the last few weeks. And as I've said, we've got the latest instalment of Premiership action this afternoon between two teams really fighting for relegation this afternoon.
Yeah, both these teams on just one win, and they're at the bottom of this Premiership division. Edinburgh, it's their second year, so they've fought and stayed up before. But Leicester, it's their first year, and they will be desperate to try and stay in this division.
And Leicester had high hopes at the beginning of the season when we first covered them against the Sheffield Giants, and they were victorious against those Giants 21-8, and all things were bright and rosy at that stage. But now, a few weeks down the line, they find themselves having lost their last four, and as I say, really in a predicament, Cole.
Yeah, and it seems that they took that hit, didn't they, initially, that week one in the beginning of the season when they knew they couldn't play those Baker University scholarship athletes that they tried to get over and play British American football. That rule is still in force.
Indeed.
And they've not been able to play those American athletes since, and they've had a 4-game losing streak as a result, and that's really damaged their chances.
And Edinburgh are in a similar situation equally, making a long trip down from north of the border, and they find themselves, as you've mentioned, their second year battling against this relegation conundrum, if you like. What can we expect to see from them today?
Well, they've been here before. They're a little bit more experienced than Leicester, certainly in terms of staying up in the Premiership. But they have suffered some serious injuries. We spoke to Don Edmondson before the game, and he said it's been a difficult season for them. But they're halfway through and fairly optimistic that they can stay up. But this is an absolute critical game for both of these teams.
We'll talk a little bit more about Edinburgh and hear from Coach Edmondson a little bit later. But to begin with, we got the thoughts of Coach Cassar for the Leicester Falcons, and a very subdued Coach Cassar from what he normally is. This is what he had to say. Good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us as ever. Another home game, but a bit of an away home game this afternoon.
Yes.
Why are we not in Blaby this afternoon?
It's waterlogged.
Oh, okay. So fair enough.
This is nice.
It is. Yes, lovely. So we're here at De Montfort University. Spoke to you at the beginning of the season, and your aspirations after being promoted were to contend for the title. You won that first game against the Giants, and it was a quite convincing one. You must have been on a high at that point.
Yes, we were, but now it's all gone downhill. I said that we'd compete for the league if we had the 6 Americans playing. Obviously now we haven't got the 6 Americans, so it's just a relegation battle to stay in this division.
So as the rain begins again, after we just explained about Blaby being flooded, this very much becomes a bit of a relegation battle between you and the Wolves, both sitting at 5-1 at the moment.
I think it's us, Wolves and Giants. I think they're the three. It's splitting off. I think this league, the way it's gone, is it obviously then you got Tamworth, Manchester had a great result yesterday, and Merseyside, and there's a big black line across it that says us three for the relegation.
What do you know about the Wolves then? What do you expect from Edinburgh?
They look like a bunch of big lads. I watched film. They run a wing T. The defence is strong. They're strong up front. So I'm looking forward to a game. Actually, good game.
Okay. So last week you came off the back of a real narrow defeat to Sheffield after you beat them first game out.
Yeah.
What have you spoken about this week during training in terms of to try and right the ship?
It's mainly commitment. They've got to be committed. They've got to see the place through, and no arguing on the sideline. We had too much of that, and too many players trying to be coaches, and it just didn't work out at all. We got down to the 2-yard line twice and we didn't score, and there's 14 points right there. But no, hats to Sheffield. They did the job, came out and played and won.
I think from a coaching perspective, it's probably fair to say it's easy to coach when you're playing well and getting the results. It becomes much more difficult, like you say, when you get players sort of niggling a little bit. What's your philosophy on how you try and get those players back into the right mindset?
It's been really hard because obviously last year we went unbeaten. Now we're losing, we're still losing, and we're still losing. We've got to keep everybody positive. It's every game comes and goes. You try your hardest to win one. Once you win one, then the weight comes off you, kind of. It's hard. It's really hard. This league's a good league.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's a big step up from Division 1. And I think any team that's going to come up this year will find that out.
Are you at full strength today with what you've got? Obviously, Americans barring, or
no? Bar the Americans, I've got about 5 or 6 key players out as well who are injured. That's the other thing as well. We seem to be getting a lot of injuries when you lose.
Yeah, sure.
But not when you win. So yeah, I've got some key players out, but I've still got numbers. I've still got enough to play.
And is there anything particular that not to tell us, but is there anything you've got at your sleeve that the Wolves or the league won't have seen before today, or is it pretty much a standard approach?
Pretty much the same standard approach. But the offense was designed around Logan and the Americans, so they brought it all in. The quick no huddle. We've had to change it and adapt in a different way. We've got Marcus playing at QB now from Coventry, so he's totally different to Logan.
Sure.
So we've had to readjust the playbook. Defense is the same. Different.
We expect to see a lot of the ground game. We've got Francis playing this afternoon.
Yeah, I think so. I think you'll see quite a lot of running. I think than passing, to be honest with you.
Well, great. Well, let's hope it stays dry. And thanks as ever for your time, and good luck for this afternoon and the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Cheers, coach.
Thanks.
Right, Carl. It is June, isn't it?
It is June. I think it's June, Matt.
The UK summertime, June. I'm just checking.
That's what it says here.
Anyway, we will try and carry on regardless. Steve, our producers, have taken out precautionary measures on the camera. We've lost the monitor, but anyway, we will battle on. Interesting to hear there from Coach Kasoi. Like I say, he was a little flat today compared to how he normally is. And interesting how he said, and you'll experience this, when you're winning, it's easy to coach. When you're losing, it becomes a little bit more tricky, and you get those niggles, and maybe more injuries occur as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've suffered, difficulties with their quarterback, difficulties at running back. So we're just going to see a new quarterback today. We're going to see new running backs today. We're going to see a Bansky at quarterback, the Coventry Jets quarterback.
Indeed.
So it's all changed. This is the third time that the Leicester Falcons have had to change their backfield. So there's no consistency on their offense, and we'll see who turns up today.
We'll get into that a little bit more as the game goes on. So let's turn our attention briefly to Edinburgh. Don. We might not be able to bring you that interview right now because we're going to the coin toss. But what can you expect to see from Edinburgh? Like the coach said, they're a big unit.
Fourth string quarterback, Matt. They're on their fourth string quarterback with various players playing in Europe. One's gone to Prague, one's got an injury, another one's also playing for another team now. So Edinburgh are down to their fourth string QB. So what are we going to see today? Lots of running. That's what we're going to be seeing today.
I think we will, not only because of that QB, but also if conditions stay like this, it's windy, it's wet, not particularly cold, but it's not conducive to seeing much of a passing game this afternoon.
No, it's very erratic as well. The sun will come out and then suddenly you're in the eye of the storm, the wind's going, the monitors are being blown all over the place, and we're just trying to keep the production going for you here.
Would it be fair to say, from your opinion, the team that lose this, would there still be a chance for them to stay up?
There is, because it's been so close, and some of the games, even though 14-0 was the score between Manchester and Edinburgh, for instance.
Sure.
Manchester beat Tamworth yesterday, 21-0. Anything can happen in this Premiership. So although we're halfway through it, it looks negative for both these teams. Anything can happen, as I say, in the second half of the season, and we've had some surprise results already.
Absolutely. Well, at this point, we'll go and reapply our makeup, try and get my hair in order, and we will come back to you after this short break.
Dragonfly Productions are a full-service live event production company. We can cater for all your event needs with a turnkey solution, or can support you with individual needs. We can supply production design, on-site production management, environmental design, scenic design, exhibition design and build, audio-visual design and delivery, and global support. We offer international reach and experience with partners on every continent, so quality is always assured, in-house branding and design capabilities, an in-house scenic workshop, and an in-house video production team. From a small meeting to a large symposium, your meeting will get the same attention to detail. Dragonfly Productions.
Okay, so here we are ready for kickoff. This is going to be an interesting one, not only from a game point of view, Carl, but I think from a commentary point of view. We're very exposed this afternoon. The elements all against us. We've managed to resurrect the monitor, so that gives us at least something to go with. And we will see how we go. So, as you can see, Leicester will get this game underway for us. Kicking from right to left, as you see on your monitor. See if the Edinburgh Wolves can get anything going early on.
Yeah, Ash Hopkinson and Stuart Galloway back for Edinburgh to receive this. I think it's going to be Daniel Burton, who is at least some consistency there that Leicester have had at the kicker position, because he's the one going to be kicking off, and he's been a mainstay for them throughout the season. And it is, as Matt said, very windy here. And then we get bright sunshine, beautiful sunshine, and then more wind and more rain. So really erratic conditions.
So let's see if our focus can be taken off the elements, and whether or not this game will engage us and you. And to all of you out there, happy Father's Day to all those dads. There's a fair few out here this afternoon who have donned their uniforms and will be ready to get this one underway. So kick is up, and it's a short little squib kick up to one of the upbacks, number 24 for the Wolves, who finds a little seam and he's gone. This could be spell disaster from the off, but the Falcons managed to corral him, and it will be first down Edinburgh, already in fantastic field position for the visiting Scottish outfit.
Yeah, I don't know whether Leicester were trying to take them unawares there, but that was number 24, who's Jason Gray, who picked that one up and nearly bust through that second line of that. And if he had done, that would have been, as you said, Matt, disaster as a start for Leicester.
But already Edinburgh will be buoyed by that start, and that fourth string quarterback makes his life a little easier. Has a little bit of breathing room should things not go quite the way he intends on this first possession. So Edinburgh come out with two receivers down to the right, one up to the left. Split backfield. It's a kind of that familiar pistol formation. Fullback just in front of the quarterback. The ball is handed off up the middle, and there's a little bit of a seam, and he bounces up to the left, and he's still on his feet before he's met by the Falcons' defensive secondary. But that looks like enough for a first down, and indeed the chains move. Yeah,
Will Price with a nice opening run off the left-hand side of that line just behind the fullback, and that was nice, and it gets the quarterback into the game. Obviously he's starting full string. This is his first start this season. That's Liam Brown in at quarterback for Edinburgh, so we'll see how he progresses throughout the game.
So first down Wolves. We'll try and get this scoreboard updated for you as best we can as we go along, but it is first and I think it is first and 10 still. Yeah, I can see those down markers. Ball is pitched to the right to number 7, and number 7 doesn't have a lot of way to go, but manages to keep on his feet, does Will Price, before he's corralled by that Leicester defence.
Yeah, they went for the same, they went for a pitch out to the right hand side that time, but just a little bit of the timing was off between running back and quarterback, and it meant that number 43 for Leicester Falcons could rally to that one quickly.
Brings up about 2nd and 9. Pickup of minimal yardage on that first. In fact, looking at where the chains are there, it may well have even lost yardage. Very difficult to see from our vantage point here. But nevertheless, two receivers down to the right. Big heavy set in this time for the Wolves as he drops back to pass, rolls to his right. He flings the ball over into the back of the end zone, and it is almost caught, but just dropped at the back of the end zone. And that was number 87, the intended receiver. That's George Fell.
Yeah, Liam Price did a good job there, just keeping the play alive, then rolling to his right. His initial read wasn't there, went to the back of the end zone. But Edinburgh will be buoyed both by the field position and by the fact that Liam nearly scored on the first pass of the game.
We'll bring up third down though. As I say, they are just behind the chains a little with 3rd and 12-ish. As Liam Brown once again making this start this afternoon. This time pitches to the left. And it is Price once again, and Price tries to turn the corner, and again he's met by number 47 that time. 47 is Peter Sandham, and that will be 4th down.
Yeah, Will Price that time just trying to barrel his way into the get past that defensive line of the Leicester Falcons. Unable to on that, but they're running this heavy set well, mixing it up so far at Edinburgh.
Interesting to see now, they're kicking into the wind. Are they going to attempt to get some points on the ball in this first drive, or Or would you envisage them, and as they're lining up, it appears they are going to go for it on fourth down, actually. 2 receivers out to the right, 1 to the left again. And it's a quick draw up the middle, which isn't overly successful. And that will be a turnover on down. So even though Edinburgh managed to move the ball, Leicester will feel buoyed by that defensive stop call.
Yeah, it means that Leicester have come on with poor field position to start. So I think Edinburgh were betting, all right, well, the wind's blowing around here, various different directions, very hard to predict. And so even if they don't get it, which they didn't, they're giving Leicester poor field position to come out on their first drive, and a defence that, from the interview that we did with Don Edmondson at the start of the game, it's a defence that they trust. So let's see how this pans out.
So here comes that Falcons new look offensive from their pre-season plans with Abansky in the quarterback position, and he hands that one off initially. It's a pickup of a couple on first down. As I say, that wind that you mentioned is becoming an issue. My commentary may be a little more dicey than normal, just because of the fact that I'm struggling to keep the hair out of my eyes, but we'll do what we can. So first down there, Carl, running back.
Yeah, it's Nick Jones, who's played in GFL. We haven't seen him so far, certainly Onside Productions, but looks handy, but nothing on that one. But we'll see how it progresses. Abansky this time to the left-hand side, and it looks like Teo. Is that Teo? I can't get the number from this far away, but it was a drop anyway.
As we mentioned, we are at a new venue this afternoon in Beaumont Park here in Leicester. We usually we'll be playing at Leicester Lions Rugby Club in Blaby, but unfortunately, as you heard in the pre-game, suffering from waterlogged pitch, which is understandable given the weather this week. So our commentary position isn't ideal. As Abansky drops back to pass again, he looks to his right, then comes back to his left, and this is what we saw him do in the Uniball final, use those legs, and he does manage to use those legs effectively, and he's got enough for a Leicester first down.
Yeah, he's a big, strong runner. Tayo Adekunle coming in and throwing a big block on the Edinburgh team there. But this is what Abansky can do. Third down, 3rd and 8, nothing there. Takes to his wheels and picks up the first down.
And he's a deceptively quick runner. When you see him there he was coming towards there in our commentary. It doesn't look like he's overly fast, but he's obviously got the speed that he needs, and he reads the game very well. As this time he hands the ball off over to the right edge, and that is taken by number 23 this time for Leicester. Just finding out. There we go. That's Nick Jones once again, and he looks like being a bit of a workhorse for the Falcons this afternoon.
Yeah, he's showing some speed, I think, Nick Jones, and I think he will break some tackles today and make some good yards. But for now, Edinburgh doing a good job on the edge there to hold him to just 2 or 3 yards, bring up a 2nd and 7.
So 2nd and 7 indeed, as Abansky once again drops back, goes to the air this time, and that's low, intended for number 82. Once again, unfortunately, that's Philippe Boutier-Martel, who was down at his bootstraps. Difficult for him to corral that one in.
Yeah, so it brings up that 3rd down again, doesn't it? 3rd and 7. So we saw Abansky take to his feet this time. Edinburgh are going to need to make an adjustment, see whether they can contain him and keep him in the pocket, make him pass, because he's not such a good passer as he is a runner, at least at this point in his career, because it's early days for him.
Trips to the left this time, and Jones floats out, and he does get that pass in the backfield. The Wolves are there in numbers and do manage to stop him short of first down yardage. In fact, I'm not even sure he managed to get back to the line of scrimmage, but that will bring up 4th down, and although that sounds not the best for the Falcons, they've managed to get themselves away from their own end zone. They've got the wind behind them, so all being well, they should have a pretty good reversal in terms of field position and make Edinburgh start in a much more uncomfortable position than they did on their first drive.
Yeah, getting bright sunshine now for this punt, Matt. There you go. This is what we're talking about in terms of this the weather conditions here at Leicester.
So Dan Burton back to punt, and he gets off a nice high kick. It catches the wind, and it should take a Leicester bounce, which it does. It's fielded at the 20 by Ash Hopkinson. Ash Hopkinson makes the first man miss, picks up 7 or 8 more, and the second Edinburgh possession will start just inside their 30-yard line.
Yeah, you sometimes get lucky as a punt return and the ball just bouncing straight into your arms. You can pick that one up and just see if you can get a good return. Made the first player miss, picked up a few yards, and that brings them close to the 30-yard line.
So during this changeover possession, one score obviously that's of note in the Prem this weekend already Mentioned it briefly in our pre-game. Tamworth going down 21-0 to the Manchester Titans. That a surprise to you, Carl, or is that sort of the way that the Phoenix season's been going and shows the calibre of the Titans?
It does show the calibre of the Titans. I was there for the first quarter of that game, and it was a really nasty injury to a Tamworth player, so we send him our best wishes. He had a double fracture, and I think that really knocked Tamworth for 6, and Manchester exploited that for the big win.
So Liam Brown and the Wolves offence back for their second attempt, and fakes the run, this time flips the ball out, hits number 81. That's Stuart Galloway, who dances around before being met by number 34, and that's again good tackling in numbers from that Leicester Falcons D.
Yeah, Ben Tincello there for Leicester and others, so both these defences coming out and playing well, especially on first down, so that's bringing up second and long for these Edinburgh Wolves. Looks like it's a competitive game, equal so far. Seems like both these teams can compete with each other.
And from their respective records, you would kind of expect that today. Edinburgh on the receiving end of 2 shutouts from an offensive point of view during this year, and Leicester struggled to score a little bit as well as Brown hands off. And once again, this time there is a little bit of room over that left end, and that'll be Gregor Clay this time with the carry.
Yeah, Taylor Brown having to come up from that linebacker position that they've got him playing to make that tackle. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 6 for Edinburgh. And again, with this new quarterback Liam Brown in, we'll see what he can do on 3rd down. So far, not completed a pass, but he's been close.
In the past, when we've done these Leicester games, we've always mentioned Taylor Brown's name has always been there or thereabouts, man of the moment, and sort of Johnny on the spot, as it were. Usually makes something happen. He's covering the slot receiver to the bottom of your screen at the moment as Brown looks back. He puts the ball over, and just as I mentioned, Taylor Brown was inches away from picking off that Liam Brown pass, and that will be a 4th down for the Wolves.
Yeah, Liam will soon learn not to go that way, I think. When you see Taylor Brown out there, definitely looking the other direction, Liam. But, yeah, that one was wayward, and so neither Taylor nor the receiver had a chance at that one.
So, given the wind direction, and given the fact that the Falcons were able to hold the Wolves to that 3 and out, you would say advantage Falcons. Taylor Brown continued his jaunt down the seam there, and he's now waiting back around his own 20-yard line to receive this punt.
Wind is coming towards the punter.
Absolutely. On this one, absolutely. So you would think that, and that is held up high. Taylor will instruct his men to get out of the way, and it does take another big Leicester bounce. And there's this field position battle, and one that Leicester are winning at the moment. So 1st down, Falcons.
Yeah, you could see as that punt hung in the air. Got good traction, and then just kind of hung there and spun backwards. The conditions already affecting the field position. To
kind of the uninitiated of this particular game, yes, we want to see points, and yes, we want to see big plays, but when you think about how this game's gone so far, obviously Leicester on the opening kick gave a great field position to Edinburgh, but then managed to hold the Wolves, got that big punt away themselves, held the Wolves again on the 3 and out, and now they find themselves in great field position themselves for this next drive.
Yeah, let's see what Abansky can do here on 1st down.
So the ball is handed off, nice little spin move there. And that is that man once again. We're going to be calling his name a lot. Nick Jones picks up 5 on 1st down. Good positive yardage.
Did good to get through the initial defensive line, but those Edinburgh linebackers playing well, swarming to the ball, and Nick Jones, who does have some speed, looks like he can definitely burst through. But linebackers equal to it so far.
2nd and 5, Falcons goes to the air this time, and once again it's another bit of a hospital pass aiming for Dan Burton that time, and if Dan had caught that one, he would have found himself very quickly stopped. So an incompletion as good as what may have occurred on that play, bringing up 3rd and 5.
Yeah, and this is what we heard from the players at the start before the game was about Abansky. Great runner, but also goes a long time without a completed pass, and it's frustrating for these Leicester Falcons. Let's see what he does here, whether he keeps to his feet or goes to the air.
So here we go, 3rd down, looks to his right, rather. Sorry, looks to his left, now he's corralled, now he's in trouble. Escapes one man, and then a second, and he's still on his feet, spins out once again. Once again he spins, trucks the 3rd defender, and somehow managed to make what was an absolute negative into a positive.
Wow.
Incredible hit.
Abansky just showing the incredible skills that he's got as a runner. So strong, so big. This is Premiership football, Matt. This isn't Bucks football. These are the big boys, and this is the National Leagues. And he's running through them as if they were university players.
But that was reminiscent. I don't know if you remember that game that we did at Birmingham University. Loughborough University.
Yeah.
And there was that fantastic play that he scored on that was ended up called back. But very much so in spin moves, agility, pace, strength, like he did in that Uniball final.
Fourth and very short here, Matt.
You'd think, realistically, Abansky hands the ball off. And it is, no, he doesn't hand the ball. If he fakes it and then keeps going around the right side himself, is he going to get enough? It looks like he has. And that should be first down yardage. Waiting for the official signal. When you've got a runner like that at quarterback.
Yeah, he just did enough with the fake handoff to Nick Jones just to freeze those linebackers, and then they can spread that out to the edge, which means that he has a number of opportunities to try and turn upfield. Took him all the way, Edinburgh ran him all the way to the sideline, but he did get enough for that first down.
So, 1st and 10 Leicester on the march. Around about the 30-yard line of the Wolves as that wind picks up again. And I'll be honest, this wind you would have thought would help Abansky through the air, although it may sail on him as the ball is handed off once again to Jones. Jones finds a little bit of space, but that defensive front for the Wolves stands strong and holds him for a pickup of minimal yardage.
Yeah, they're playing 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers and then rushing 1 linebacker off the edge, but they've been solid in the middle so far, have Edinburgh. They've not really allowed anything, so good job at the heart of that defence.
Looking at where those chains are, a pretty good pickup of 3 on that one, so brings up 2nd and 7. And if you're picking up anything close to 3-4 yards on first down, that's got to be a positive. Opens your playbook up a little more, although I'm not sure how vast a playbook this Leicester team is currently operating with, given the fact they've had to make so many changes. 2 receivers down here to the bottom of the screen. Burton at the slot position, and Abansky looks left, right, man comes in motion, and it is a jet sweep, and it is that man Taylor Brown who gets the edge, seals the block, and then trucks a defender close to first down yardage. And that's David Orr, who was unfortunately on the receiving end of a Taylor Brown shoulder. That's going to be very close. Sorry, Carl, very close to first down. It looks like it has been signalled first down, Carl.
Yeah, Taylor Brown doing enough just with that truck to bust his way through for that first down yardage, and they're going to move these chains, but they are going to utilise Taylor Brown as much as they can on offence. They need a spark, and Taylor Brown's that man that can bring it on defence and offence.
Absolutely. Always making something out of nothing as Abansky drops back to pass again this time. He looks to his right. He now takes off to his right. He's got a man in pursuit, and he doesn't feel that man. And you'd have thought that he would have put the hammer down a little quicker and taken off, but great defensive work from the Wolves backer.
Yeah, Steve McDonald, the defensive captain there, that is just effort. I don't know whether we can get a replay, but Abansky is a strong quarterback. Look at this, 14, I'm going to chase him down. And Abansky doesn't feel it, as you say, Matt, and there he is trying to knock that ball. That's a great play by Steve McDonald from the backside. Classic defensive end play.
Loss of a yard on the play, bringing up 2nd and 11. I tell you what, it's windy, Carl, when even the end zone pylons are having a rest and laying down. Abansky once again looks to his right, simple little pass over the middle, dumps it off. He completes this time, first completion of the afternoon, and once again positive yardage, but it's going to be shy of a first down.
Yeah, that's Jarrett, and he's been a mainstay again, consistent player for Leicester Falcons, which is what they need right now at this point in the season. So Jarrett, who we've seen a number of times make plays, makes another one there, brings up a 3rd and maybe a yard and a half.
Yeah, long yard, short 2. But again, in fact, it's been given first down. Interesting. So on the spot of the ball, that has been given a Leicester first down.
Yeah, if I was Edinburgh, I don't know whether I'd actually be asking for some measurements on some of these. We've had a couple now that look short and then we're given.
But a new lease of life, another 4, a similar play, and again, that one nowhere near the intended receiver that time. Seems to be very static. He almost eyeballs that receiver straight away, stands there and then delivers, and not overly accurately sometimes.
Well, he's used to playing the flex bone offense, not used to playing a spread offense, and I think when you're playing that, with the flex bone, those receivers do come free a lot of the time, because most of the time, 80% of the time, you're running the ball. In a spread offense like this, of course, the defense have a completely different philosophy, and that is to protect and defend the pass.
Here we go again. This time the ball is handed off to Nick Jones, who makes a jump cut and then drags a defender with him for a pickup of maybe 3. Yeah, so 3rd and 7 upcoming.
Seb Gabier there, number 44 for the Edinburgh Wolves. Again, just to mention his name, it was one of those linebackers that are swarming to the ball, doing well. But this is a useful Leicester drive now as they're getting close to that goal line.
As we've mentioned already, in a tight battle like this, field position is always important, and even if the Falcons don't manage to get in at this stage, with the wind direction, you might expect an attempt at a field goal as Urbanski looks for Danny Burton, and that Danny Burton slips, and it's in and out of the hands of number 41, Dominikas Stipinas. So that will be 4th down. Apologies if I mispronounced that last name. But a slip from Burton, and now Burton will be charged with the responsibility of trying to open the scoring via the use of that right boot. It's going to be around about a 25-yard attempt for Burton. The kick is up. It looks straight, and it is no good, off to the right from a Falcons point of view.
It's a shame because when it initially got kicked there, it looked like it was going to go straight through, but no.
So, again, the bend but don't break theory of defence prevailing for the Wolves, and they'll take over, but with not the best field position again. And if Leicester are able to hold like they did last time, Leicester will be knocking on the door once again.
Yeah, it's that 3rd down effectiveness, especially for Urbanski, to see whether he can actually get the completions going through the air. He can't rely on his legs on every 3rd down.
So let's see if Liam Brown can ignite this travelling Wolves offence. He's got Dan Barron in the backfield for company directly behind him this time. You would assume that on 1st down they'll try that running game again, which they do, and that finds a good hold as Barron up on 1st down. Picks up close to 6 yards, and I believe that will be the end of our first quarter. Or just no, looking for the. No, still in the first quarter, apologies. It's gone very quickly though. It's a lineman who's going off injured, number 67, Ali Ritchie.
Yeah, both these teams trying to penetrate in the middle of these defences.
Craig Robertson comes on in relief of Ritchie. 2nd and 4 upcoming for the Wolves.
So the Wolves having success up the middle, and we'll see what they can do here.
Barron again, directly behind Brown. And if I was the Wolves, I'd go to that well once again and see whether or not it can be profitable, which they do. And this time, a great work from the defensive front, number 47 and 39, respectively, of the Falcons.
Yeah, they like to blitz to the Falcons, and they like to blitz in the middle of that, at the heart of that defence, especially putting linebackers and players in those A gaps and B gaps to make sure that they're not giving anything up, and that's what happened on that play.
So 3rd down then for the Wolves. Really, a 3rd down they need to convert to stop these Falcons building on the momentum that they gained from that previous drive.
Yeah, it seems to me that the difference is going to be
defence, number 39. It's a 5-yard penalty.
And that 5-yard penalty should be enough.
This will bring up a 1st down for Edinburgh.
As I was about to say, thank you, Mr. Official. That 5 yards is enough to keep the chains moving and give these Wolves a new lease of life. 4 more downs to try and sustain this drive, changing the backfield this time. In comes Gregor Clay behind Brown.
Yeah, I was about to say efficiency on 3rd down is what counts, and that's one way to do it.
Absolutely. 2 receivers off to the left this time for Brown, and Brown then hands off to Clay, who comes around the right side and finds a bit of a seam, and he's picks up good positive yardage on 1st down until he's brought down by number 36, Ben Tincello.
Yeah, slowly and surely Edinburgh are trying to get this running game going, so they've had some success in the B gaps. That time they hit the C gap and they managed to string the defence out enough to get some yards, so they're beginning to find gaps.
The trouble is, isn't it, really, when you're down to this 4th string quarterback, as you mentioned earlier, if that run game doesn't work, you're kind of thinking, oh, how much do we trust going to the air, particularly on a day where the conditions are not conducive to that ball travelling through the sky. Brown hands off once again, and takes that first hit, does Clay, and then manages to bounce off a tackler, getting up close to first down yardage.
Yeah, this is very manageable third down now for Liam Brown. So he can just hand this one off and hope for the best in terms of A or B gap running again. But we are going to go to the end of the quarter, Matt. So that's gone quick. But it's been a running game so far. Passing has been difficult, both because these quarterbacks have got less experience and because the wind conditions, it's swirling around here. It's difficult even to predict the direction of the wind, the way the wind's going. So the passing game has been non-existent so far, to be honest.
Absolutely.
But the running game has meant the clocks run fairly quick.
Well, what are we? We kicked off at 2:30 and we're now just before 3 o'clock. So actually, realistically, when you're thinking about the length of time it takes a quarter, 25-30 minutes is pretty standard at this level, Cole, is that?
Yeah, and both these teams have been in the red zone. Both these teams have had opportunities to score. We had the missed field goal from Leicester, and Edinburgh had a chance to kick a field goal but decided to go for it on fourth down and were unsuccessful. So both these teams we could have had a 3-3 game. Instead we've got a 0-0 game. But if you like defensive football, it's an interesting one to watch, and for the Premiership North it's a critical encounter. So here we go, starting Q2. Let's see what's in store.
And we've got Brown starting that second period with hopefully an easy to convert third down, and he does hand the ball off, who's going laterally but should be able to turn the edge, and it would appear there is a flag down though at the moment. Let's just see whether or not this is going to be a hold, which in that vicinity, particularly with the ball sweeping out to the right, you would suggest it could well be a hold.
Josh Elia on the run there, number 93. I don't know whether he's their normal runner, whether he plays defensive. He's running off the field now, but whether he's a defensive lineman they brought in just for that short down situation. Normally what would happen is you bring in
illegal use of hands in the back, offence number 20. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, repeat third down.
So sorry, Colin, instead of 3rd and 1 it becomes 3rd and 11 for that illegal block. Carry on, please.
Yeah, they're not going to give it to Josh Elia now, are they, on the 3rd and 20 rather. So yeah, blocking the back makes everything pretty irrelevant in terms of bringing him in, but we'll keep an eye on it, see if they bring him in short yardage situations again.
So 3rd and 11, it is the second period, contrary to what it says on our screen. We're just trying to get that sorted for you. It is the second quarter here at Beaumont Park in Leicester for this Premiership North matchup between the Edinburgh Wolves, currently marching, and the home Leicester Falcons. Now you would think this one is going to go to the air and be on the back of Liam Brown to try and make something happen, with trips down to his left-hand side, and he looks left, he puts the ball up, he's got a man, and it's tipped and intercepted, and the Falcons with another flag coming in late. Number 20 for the Falcons, struggling.
Yeah, it's you see that so often, don't you? The wind catches the ball, is tipped, and then wind, and then a defensive back, obviously, because they're converging on the ball, just picks it off and takes it back. It was a nice quick tackle. So it looks like they're going to pick the flag up.
Illegal use of hands in the back, number 47 of green. It'll be a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down, Leicester.
So taketh with one hand, taketh away with the other. That's not the right phrase, but you know what I'm talking about. They get the ball back, but then an illegal block in the back by the Falcons after the interception marches them back 10 yards and puts them just inside their own half to start their next possession.
Yeah, they'll still be happy with that. Liam Brown obviously will be hugely disappointed with that because that's his first interception, but the ball is going to fly. If it gets tipped like that, you've always got those defensive players converging, so very dangerous to do that. Here's Abansky on first down.
And he goes to the air and he looks into the slot on the right, hits number 17. That's Tom Jarrett again with the reception. Although some discussion, between the officials, and they're now saying they're waving that off, suggesting the ball hit the floor.
Yeah, I mean, Abansky used to that flex bone, as we said, with those wing backs coming, or those flex backs coming up, just turning around, running those hook patterns. He's practiced in completing those passes, but not on that occasion.
Twins left, twins right this time. Burton and Jarrett in the slots. And Abansky hands off to Jones, and Jones finds a little bit of a seam and he breaks one tackle. He's on his feet and he's got enough for first down, and he's tackled after he gets inside the 30-yard line of the Wolves. But very good run there by Jones.
Ash Hopkinson needing to rally back he was the last man that could make the tackle on Nick Jones, and both these teams now beginning to find some holes in this defence. We might be seeing a score soon, Matt.
Well, let's hope so, because once we get a score, that obviously ignites hopefully the other team, and as you mentioned, this game of attrition, which will become a running game, will therefore then be won and lost in the trenches, and fatigue will become a factor as well, as this time Abanski rolls round to his left-hand side, and before he can get the ball off, he's snagged by number 49 for the Wolves. Well, there isn't a 49, so...
Yeah, that's the second sack, and you just feel like Abanski's just a little bit too leisurely in the backfield there in terms of his pursuit, in terms of escaping these runners. This is Premiership football. These guys have speed. Edinburgh didn't come here, to play slow football. They've come here to run this guy down, and that's what they've done now on 2 occasions. Abanski needs a little bit more urgency.
Absolutely.
About his step.
Doesn't really feel, when he's looking downfield, doesn't really feel that pressure coming from his blind side. So 2nd and 10 for the Leicester offence. This time looks to his right. He's flushed out again, manages to step up, delivers a ball to Burton, who manages to snag it, and then he's met immediately by... there's a good number there, Carl. 33. That's a good-looking jersey number there.
Absolutely a fantastic number, and obviously a captain's number. That's Ross Young, the Edinburgh Wolves captain, wearing that 33, nice and proud.
My co-commentator's former number from his illustrious playing days.
Illustrious, no less. Thank you, man.
You're welcome. I looked up illustrious and there's a photo of you alongside, so my word for the day. But on 3rd down now, let's see whether the Falcons with Abanski, who goes to the air again, and there's a flag comes out, which will more than likely be against the offence in that particular area.
There was a bit more urgency there from Abanski, and when he does transition into a run, he makes the decision to kind of tuck the ball and go. He is very impressive.
So wait the call, but I would have thought this will be against the green of the Falcons. It's holding, and it's been declined by the Wolves because that was 3rd down. So that will bring up...
Offence, number 54. The penalty will be declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
So, interesting decision. Would you, obviously defensive coordinator that you are, would that have been your call to decline here from 3rd and 8 to 4th and 8 instead of 3rd and 18?
Yeah, you will. I mean, it can go either way. It's a 50-50 call. You trust your defence. Defence are playing well on 3rd down. If they can contain Abanski, and he's not completing passes for 8 or more yards. So yeah, it's not a bad call from Don and the Edinburgh Wolves. With hindsight, it's easy to pick these calls, isn't it, one way or the other? But we'll see what happens on 4th down.
So, as ever, in the Britball community, we have a number of games going on around the country. Try and keep you updated with those if we can. Leicester have just called a timeout. So, in Div 1, the Shropshire Revolution currently 14-6 ahead of the Lancashire Wolverines. Still in Div 1, the Yorkshire Rams 19-7 ahead of the Gateshead Senators at half-time. Keep trundling through these. 6-0 to the Nighthawks in the Prem against the Sheffield Giants in the second quarter. So another tight battle there.
Sheffield defence really playing well in the second half of this season.
Absolutely. The Farnham Knights 12-0 ahead of the Kent Exiles. Just trundling through some more Premiership scores. London Warriors and the London Olympians 7-0 in favour of the Warriors. That one was a 2:30 kickoff. So to say we are now 3:06, that's good going by the Olympians to hold those Warriors to only 7 points so far. Back to the action here in Leicester. Abanski drops back, he's flushed again, and this time good defence. The pocket collapses. Abanski looks, keeping his eyes downfield, but pressure from the left, the right, and up the middle, nowhere to go. And a big loss and a turnover on downs for the Wolves.
Yeah, Falcons call a timeout and then go for the pass. I'm not sure that's the right call given Abanski's ability to run. And these Edinburgh Wolves seem to be having their way now with this offensive line, especially in these passing situations. Whenever you get pressure up the middle like that, it's very, very difficult for a quarterback to run because they've got nowhere to go. They get squeezed in the middle. Then you turn outside, and of course the defensive end, if they've done their job correctly, should be right there to meet the quarterback and contain him in the pocket. So good pressure that time coming from the middle of that Wolves defence.
And great work as a defensive unit as well. Like you say, if you're getting pressure at the middle, you need that pressure from the outside to be there as well. So there's nowhere for that quarterback to escape to. So good all-round defensive work from that Wolves front. And here comes Liam Brown and the Wolves offence once again. Still 0-0 here into the second quarter as Leicester show blitz again, and the blitz does come, and then wow, unblocked, straight through, fullback goes the wrong way, and a loss of 3 on first down.
And that's Emmanuel Falola making that tackle, making his impact known on this game on first down. Nice play. Again, always good to see a linebacker with aggression coming through that gap and knocking a running back straight back.
In terms of, obviously each defensive coordinator has their own philosophy. From a sort of percentage of how often do you utilise that blitz and the way it makes you vulnerable by using it too often, we'll talk a little bit more. But your philosophy on blitzing, Carl, as Brown drops back this time, he swings it out, just over the fingertips of Will Price. But yeah, that sort of blitz, or applying pressure and leaving yourself exposed to the back. What's your philosophy on that?
Well, first and second down, if you have a team that runs up the middle, then you are going to try and blitz those A and B gaps. But you have to be careful, because if you have a smart offensive coordinator that spots it, they will exploit it by dropping a running back in behind the linebackers blitzing, and then you get those good screen plays coming. Or the quarterback, if he's quick enough, will keep the ball himself and run into space. So it's a cat and mouse game with the blitz. I like using it as a defense coordinator. I like pressure defenses. But you have to be smart. Particularly when you've got two inexperienced quarterbacks as you've got here. And the ball is put on the deck, this time by Price. And that on third down will result in disaster. Loss of 7 or so brings up fourth of about 19 or 20. So yeah, Carl, like you say, with two inexperienced quarterbacks, the more pressure you can pile on there. It's all well and good being able to drop a running back in behind where those linebackers have come from, but if your quarterback is sort of rabbit in the car headlight type thing, will he have the composure to be able to dump that ball off? Yeah, and that's when you see those middle blitzes to try and get pressure as quickly as possible. If you have a quarterback that's new or hasn't played for a while in that position as we do in this game.
Robert Grant back to punt for the Wolves, and Taylor Brown respecting this wind and standing a long way back, and that's a high end over end kick which does take a Wolves bounce, and Taylor decides to field it and actually manages to hang on to it. There was only Taylor, one of his teammates, and about 9 Wolves to meet him at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, unless you're Taylor Brown, it's not recommended. But he does trust himself. He's got great hands. He's got great hand-eye coordination. And like I say, when the ball bounces just straight in or very close to your fingertips, it's, okay, can I snatch this out of the air? Taylor Brown with the instant decision, which is what you've got to do. Picks up a couple of yards. Is it worth the risk? It was on this occasion. So Taylor manages to stop that ball trundling any closer to his own goal line, but in the battle of field position in this 0-0 defensive struggle, Edinburgh now go on the front foot from the perspective that the Falcons start this drive on their own 22-yard line. We need a score, Matt. We need a score. Patterson in the backfield. Let's see whether he can ignite this Leicester offense.
And Patterson dances out to the left. He's running laterally, and there's 4 or 5 Wolves there.
It's great pursuit. Those Wolves.
The pack of Wolves.
Hounding those Falcons. Yeah, poor Patterson had nowhere to go on that. This offensive line is, we need them to step up. And if you're a Leicester Falcons fan, you'll be wanting to will these offensive linemen on, because they're just not giving these runners a chance. Certainly Patterson on that one.
As you mentioned,
we know Patterson can run.
He's quick, but as you mentioned, that lateral pursuit there was equally quick, bringing up 2nd and 14 for the Falcons. Patterson still in the backfield, but 2 receivers either side, and this time Abansky goes to the air, dumps that ball over again, and once again he causes his receiver, Danny Burton, to have to dive to his right. The pass is completed, but not making things easy for his receivers.
No, he's thrown to a spot on the field rather than to a man. And
it's very generous of you.
And that is causing difficulties for these receivers.
Some would say thrown to a spot on the field rather than man. Some would say a little bit off with the accuracy. But I like your positivity, Carl.
Let's see if they can get this. See if they can get this option running game going. That's what they need here.
Well, that will be after this play as Urbanski goes to the air again. Intended receiver was number 15 for the Falcons.
Yeah, you got Nick Jones in the backfield for Leicester. You got Patterson in the backfield. You got Urbanski in the backfield. You know, these guys can run if they can get some misdirection going on and they can get this option running game going. That we know Urbanski can run because he runs the flex bone for university football. So maybe Leicester can get something going on the ground. But so far, we haven't seen much of that. Certainly not having any success through the air.
Ash Hopkinson back just inside his own 40-yard line for this one, as Dan Burton will put this up. And again, the wind is a factor. And let's see, Dan tries to keep the wind out of play, but it does end up taking. That's live. That ball. Interesting one there. Don't touch the ball and then just drop it. It could be deemed that you didn't have possession of that ball and therefore didn't down it, but the Falcons given the benefit of the doubt. But look at that field position now for the Wolves, Cole.
Yeah, it was a poor punt in the end by Danny Burton, who's normally dependable when it comes to his leg, but not on this occasion. And yeah, it was blown dead by the referees, so Edinburgh are going to get excellent field position to start this one.
So actually, if we glance up from our commentary position, you look at the speed that the clouds are travelling, the wind, anything sort of above goalpost height really is significant, and therefore that usually reliable Danny Burton boot becomes less so when that wind grabs hold of the football. But here we go again then. Wolves in possession. Man comes in motion for Brown. Brown hands off, and that's a good seam off to the left-hand side for Gregor Clay once again.
Yeah, that's a new play. We haven't seen that one yet. It's I think they've got a couple of pulling guards coming around the edge. The number 55 of Leicester Falcons made an adjustment to come to the edge, but they still managed to pick up some yards. So that is, 2nd and 3.
It's always a difficult decision from an offensive coordinator. How long do you keep flogging the horse of a certain number of plays until you then go a bit deeper into the playbook and show that defence something a little bit different? And it appears that the Wolves may well be exploring further down that play calling sheet on this possession as 2nd and...
Yeah, overloading the left-hand side of the line, but it looks like they've just taken too long, so they have to call a timeout on that one. So they're going to go back to the sideline, and Don's going to have a word.
Second charge, timeout.
Unfortunate.
Leicester.
Obviously, we've not really alluded to this.
It was a Leicester timeout.
Oh, interesting. Didn't like their personnel then.
Well, I think it's because they're overloading that left side of the line, and Rob Urquhart just wants to have a word with his defence and talk about what adjustment they make to the fact that they've got this overload.
So, we have another brief opportunity to update you. Revolution 21-6 ahead in the 4th against the Wolverines. Interested to have a look at that Olympians Warriors score again to see if that's moved on at all. 7-all the Warriors and the Olympians in the second quarter, Cole. That will be a resounding result even if the Olympians can keep that close, because we were mentioning on our journey down here the fact that the Warriors may be leaving the Prem behind a little bit in terms of their quality.
I spent some time with Rick Iob yesterday, the Olympians coach of long standing, and he'll be happy with that score if that stays the same.
So 2nd and maybe 4, maybe a long 3 instead, as this time the ball is handed off once again, and the runner trips before he manages to get going. See, just comes in and takes a step and does just trip himself up a little.
Gregor Clay again on the run, still trying to get that run game going. Looks like they may be close to a first down. They've certainly given it for less than this so far, and they are going to give Edinburgh a first down. So on 2nd and 6 they pick it up.
And the Wolves continue to roll. You do feel that if there is going to be a score, it's going to be at this end of the field, just purely due to the fact that
we're down here.
Well, absolutely, and they're trying to put on a show for us and make it a little bit easier on our commentary position. I say we're sometimes a little elevated, which gives us a bit of an added bonus, but today we are down the end of the field that you see the Wolves attacking towards. We're pitch level, which is why maybe we're not quite as accurate with our calls, as we sometimes have been in the past, so apologies for that, but hope you're enjoying the game nevertheless on this Father's Day 2019.
Leicester just blitzing Falola off the edge again on that one, and it leaves a little gap in the middle that the running backs are exploiting, that time just for 3 yards. But I get the sense that one of these is going to be busted. If you look at the way Leicester are lined up, they've got 8 in the box trying to defend this run, but nothing back. And Taylor not in the middle of the field either.
And the ball is pitched this time to the right, and initially looks like he's got some space out there, but good pursuit this time from the Falcons defence. And once again, that's Gregor Clay on the carry.
Yeah, I get the sense, if you have a look here, decent pursuit inside out by these Falcons, and they have enough speed to get over there in numbers. I get the sense if Edinburgh are going to penetrate this defence, it is going to be between the tackles and not on the edge. Lots of speed for
absolutely.
These Falcons.
Absolutely. But it did pick up a couple on that play again, so it brings up 3rd and 5. So again, an opportunity once again down this end of the field, as I've mentioned numerous times already. If they aren't successful on this 3rd down, if they're able to get close enough and give that ball to Clay or one of the other backs, there's a potential to pick up that 1st down or even kick that field goal that we saw the Falcons attempt earlier on, and ball goes straight up the middle this time. And I don't think there's going to be much doing there at all. Maybe one pick up there as we look at the replay. Yeah,
they just don't trust Liam to throw the ball on these 3rd down situations, so they're going to hand it off and hopefully get some yardage behind that offensive line. Well, again, the Falcons equal to it on that occasion. 4th down.
It appears they've picked up 2. So 4th and 3. Interesting. Let's see if they do stick with the offense and pin these Falcons back.
Obviously the kicker didn't make the coach trip then.
Doesn't appear so, does it? You've got the wind here, you're about 23, 24 yards away, and you stay with your 4th string quarterback on 4th and 3. Now, you'd be amazed if this is anything other than being handed off, unless that jet sweep. Now, unfortunately, the quarterback exchange to the running back is not what it wanted to be with Gregor Clay, and he fumbles that, as you can see there, before he has to drop on the ball and just end up making sure that there is no fumble. But another promising drive from the Wolves results in nada.
Yeah, it was just going nowhere, was it? It was a cluster from the start, that one. They tried to hand the ball off. It was a low handoff, and then running back just has to drop to his knees. They've got to be a bit more creative on these 4th down plays. That's twice now they've given the ball back to Leicester in positions where they could have points. We could have a game. It was 6-3. I mean, does that light you up, Matt?
It does. I love a 6-3 game. Any time anyone scores below 10, I feel like I've been done. But hey, we could have something wheels here. That's Nick Jones, number 23, who shows some speed around this right-hand edge.
Yeah, he's a good. Look at that dynamism. I like Nick Jones with lots of energy. Using his arms to run, different pace, takes a step, buries his shoulder into the tackler. That's what you like to see. That's about 6 yards. That's bringing some energy. Is the ex-GFL player.
So 2nd and 4, maybe a long 3. Give him the benefit of the doubt as Abansky once again hands off, and this is Jones again, who looks like exactly the same play, and it results in a 1st down for the Falcons. So maybe time to get something going for the home team.
Yeah, and then don't be predictable. You make a 1st down out of those 2 runs. Now step it up. Maybe this time you fake the handoff to Nick, and Abansky keeps it and goes the other way. Let's mix it up. Let's try and keep this defense off balance, because they will make the adjustment. They're a good defense.
And all of a sudden, we've moved from January into June as the sun shines and it's warm. Oh, and that's just an awful throw from I will call him Adamski that time instead of Urbanski. But again, didn't really seem to set his feet properly, hadn't rotated his torso to the right position in order to release that ball, and it just ended up all sorts of wrong.
Yeah, he just needs to take his time with these quicker passes. There's, the pressure that time. He's got enough time on 2nd down. That was on 1st down, so you're not expecting a lot of pressure. You can take your time and just set your feet.
From my perspective, a lot of these throws from Urbanski tend to be going down. Nothing sailed on him, which is obviously a bonus, but at the same time, he seems to be throwing and releasing that ball a little late, and it's resulting in all the catches, the receptions that have been made. You think of the Burton receptions, it's always been that Burton's had to dive low in order to be able to make the reception, and 3rd down and 9 now upcoming, and
yeah, you have the first down and you're incomplete. Second down, they know you're going to run because you're trying to make 3rd down manageable. So Nick can't get anything, and you end up with 3rd and long. Let's see if Abansky takes to his wheels this time. Empty set, interestingly.
No men, as you say, in the backfield. 3 out to the left. Abansky looks back to drop, and he's got pressure coming from the edge. And this time he is able to escape. And that's a good hit on 3rd down, which will bring up. So this time, as you've said,
yeah, they're waiting
edges.
for. If you watch the tackles here, they've got a couple of linebackers shadowing Abansky as he tries to make a play, and then the nose tackle, the tackle's smart enough, number 74, to break off from his block and make the tackle, and that is Simon Douglas doing a good job there to bring Abansky down.
So Burton on once again, kicking to Ash Hopkinson, and the wind suddenly picks up as Burton catches the ball, and this one skews off his boot to the left, and once again a better result than his previous punt, but the Wolves will take over just outside their 30-yard line for their latest venture.
Yeah, better than last time from Danny Burton. I mean, the Leicester Falcons are getting away with it currently in terms of field position. They've given the ball to Edinburgh a number of times with that poor field position, but this time they're okay. 35-yard lines where the Edinburgh will start. So, I suppose in a way, Cole, we're looking at the lower tiers of the Prem, and the quality, unfortunately, is matching at the moment. Is that fair? Well, on offence it is. I mean, on offence they're struggling because they've got quarterbacks that are coming in and haven't had that time to practice with the starters. For Leicester, they're having to use Abansky because their American quarterback wasn't able to start, so they went through Brad Thompson and they went through the Longhorns quarterback, and it's been a long season for them on offence.
Oh, good pop by Taylor as the runner turns his back instead of lowering his shoulder. It's never advisable if you're going to run into a defender to actually turn away from him. Rather take him on and one number 2 against another number 2.
Yeah, Dan Barron just trying to cut inside the Taylor Brown run. Taylor just does enough to clip him and knock him down on that one.
We'll bring up 2nd and 9 for the Wolves this time.
Guy Cursed just saying hello to us in
Absolutely.
a fun way.
Well, it might have been for him.
Thanks, Guy.
As Barron again on the carry and does make a couple of men miss this time and picks up some good yardage. So yeah, similar good blocking. Maybe a little push in the back there makes one man miss, a second man miss, and that third man makes sure.
Yeah, just trying to isolate that big gap run, and that was decent execution by the Edinburgh Wolves offensive line. Is it a first down? They're going to give him the first down.
Timeout. Edinburgh. First charge timeout of the first half.
So at this point in proceedings, obviously takes a lot to get this sort of production on the air, and by no means our sponsors are responsible for much of that. Southall & Co. are a bespoke specialist law firm in the heart of Leicester. We were born out of a long-standing West Midlands practice, which was the family practice of one of our founders, and a progressive, dynamic East Midlands law firm. Our goal is to be one of the leading commercial boutique law firms, not only in the Midlands, but the entirety of England and Wales. We want you as our client to be a client for a long time. We want to understand your business as it is now, but importantly, what it could be. So that's Southall & Co. law firm in Leicester, who we thank for enabling us to bring today's production to you, as this time the ball is faked to the right and it's gone out to the left, and there's and that was a good looking play, well executed. I think the wind just carried that one, looking for Lloyd Dignan, and Brown that time faking the pitch to the left, going over the top, and to be fair, Dignan was the right side of his defender, but that ball just flew on him.
That was the best play I've seen from Liam Brown today. That was a nice fake on the handoff, and he was within a fingernail of completing that one for the touchdown. So nicely done, Edinburgh. Unfortunately didn't come to anything, but that's the sort of thing we need, some kind of injection to get this game going.
Brings up 2nd and 10 for Brown and the Wolves offence, and this time he pitches to the right, and it's Barron again, who goes a long way laterally and not a great distance vertically.
Yeah, these defences stepping up when they need to, aren't they?
So
Both of the
timeout.
teams, both these linebacker units swarming to the football.
Timeout by Leicester once again. Numerous
Timeout Leicester. That's their third and final timeout.
Numerous partners bringing you today's production. Growth Partners were another one of those. Our mission is to make employers' lives easier and make employees' working environments a happier and healthier space for businesses to thrive. Our vision is to aspire to build the UK's #1 employee engagement platform that gives UK businesses of all sizes access to affordable, expert-level services. That's Growth Partners, another sponsor for today's game. So, brings up... We third down? We're second down, Carl. We're on third down. Just... There we go. 3rd and 12 upcoming, as that last play didn't produce anything positive for the Wolves, and indeed this one once again is going to prove similar.
Yeah, this is an excellent linebacker play. You can see it's in the backfield already. The blocks missed by number 93, the Edinburgh Wolves, and 43, who I think used to play for Coventry, is stepping up now. He's got a proper... That's Richard High. Stepped up and made a really nice tackle in the backfield to deny Edinburgh anything on that one, bringing in the punt unit now.
So once again, the Falcons' defence holds strong, and the Wolves have the opportunity to pin Taylor Brown and the Falcons back once again. Yeah, Carl, I'm not a massive fan of these defensive slugfests, if I'm honest.
Well, I was just going to give the defences a huge amount of credit. Thank you, Matt. I just think they've been really good so far in this game.
I agree. I mean, I can't deny that both defences have done the job and stepped up, but you know, this
game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still remains 4th down.
This is why I suppose you are a defensive coordinator, and the last time I was involved with football, I was very much on the offensive side of the ball.
Never too old to change, Matt. It's good to see these defences playing well, containing these quarterback scrambles, blocking up these A and B gaps, blitzing well, playing with good discipline, closing down that space on these offences.
Yeah, but it's still a tad dull. And there's another flag. No, you're quite right. These guys putting the work in there in difficult conditions. Although it is dry now and all being well, looking at the skies, we may well get a prolonged...
Edinburgh, second charge timeout of the first half.
A prolonged spell of dry weather now with the sun shining, but still very windy, and still two quarterbacks who struggle going to the air, so we'll rely on that running game moving forward.
So this 4th down play is taking a while, isn't it, Matt? We've had a penalty which pushed Edinburgh back. Now Edinburgh choose to take the timeout. Some interesting decisions on when to take timeout. Leicester have been taking timeouts on defence, so I don't suppose either of these teams looking to run a 2-minute drill and retain their 3 timeouts while their quarterbacks plough it down the field.
Well, I believe now that is all 3 gone for both sides, as the kick is up. Nice high kick, gets caught in the air, and this one... Well, it takes a sideways bounce and then a Wolves bounce, and Taylor wisely gets out of the way of that one as Brad Trott fields the ball, and Leicester will take over once again in similar field position. But that will be our half time here in Leicester. So what we will do now, we will pop over to some commercials, and once we return we will try and have a look at that Don Edmondson Edinburgh Wolves interview. So stay with us. We'll be back after these messages.
Dragonfly Productions are a full-service live event production company. We can cater for all your event needs with a turnkey solution, or can support you with individual needs. We can supply production design, on-site production management, environmental design, scenic design, exhibition design and build, audio-visual design and delivery, and global support. We offer international reach and experience with partners on every continent, so quality is always assured, in-house branding and design capabilities, an in-house scenic workshop, and an in-house video production team. From a small meeting to a large symposium, your meeting will get the same attention to detail. Dragonfly Productions.
To half-time here in Beaumont Park in Leicester, where we have a score of the Leicester Falcons 0 and the Edinburgh Wolves 0. I'm going to catch up with Don Edmondson. We hope to bring you that before the game, but kind of ran out of time. But we'll catch up with Don shortly. And before we do that, impressions of that first half, Carl?
Well, it's tight. We knew it was going to be. These two teams both with one victory, and both these teams with good, strong defences, and that's how it's played out. Unfortunately, it's not giving you a score, Matt. You'll be disappointed with that, but
we live in hope.
If you like good defensive football, then stay with us. And it is tense here. You do get the feeling there's a lot riding on this game. Both of these teams playing hard. So, disappointing if you don't like defence, but if you like defence, you're in the right place.
We're experiencing all seasons in one day here. We started off at the beginning of the show with trying to avoid the rain and the wind. We've still got the wind, but the sun's now shining, so hopefully that will encourage some more offence in the second half. As I mentioned, we were always very grateful to speak to the coaches prior to the game. We heard from Coach Cassar for the Leicester Falcons and his impressions of the season so far and what to expect from today. And on their long journey down from Edinburgh, Carl managed to catch up with Coach Edmondson for the Wolves, and we were able to get his impressions of the season so far and his hopes for the rest of the year.
Welcome. I'm here with head coach of the Edinburgh Wolves, Don Edmondson. Hi Don, how you doing?
Hi, nice to be here. Thanks, Carl.
Welcome to Leicester. So thanks for doing the interview. First question for you: how's your season gone so far? We're at the midway point. How's it gone from an Edinburgh perspective?
Yeah, it's not been the best season. We're sitting at 1-4, obviously. We've still got 5 games to go. We've had some really key injuries that set us back, and I think just a wee bit of disheartenment set in for a couple of weeks there. But the guys are picked up, and we'll just change their offence a bit as well. So we've just got to go out and make do. No excuses. Come down and play football.
I mean, you've been you had that loss against Tamworth 50-0, but then you beat Sheffield, and then you ran Manchester Titans tight, and they beat Tamworth yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's been an erratic season, hasn't it? Is there any indication of why that performances have been so different from week to week?
I think the teams now are getting to know each other as well. So we've been up for 2 years. It's our 3rd season. So we start to know each other, and once you find somebody's weakness, you pick on it. I think we got a drubbing against Tamworth, although you're watching the game film, it wasn't a 50-point game, but they've done the business. The other games have been tight, and we made a couple of key mistakes. Our defence is playing really well. Manchester scored 1 in defence, and 1 was on special teams play that we screwed up on, so the defence is doing well.
And tell us about some of the players' issues that you've had this year.
Well, our QB1 is cross-playing football in Prague. RB1, running back 1, Callum Davison, he is playing in Germany, and this was told to us start the pre-season. None of them's due to come back. We've had QB2 and 3 go down injured, so we're on QB4, and we've just got a couple of new running backs in, so it's their first games today.
Right. All right. So lots to look forward to in the game, I guess.
Yeah.
And how do you see Leicester challenging you today? What are the things that they're going to bring?
They're a good team. I've watched them obviously on the film, and they've had a couple of tight games as well. And the first half they've done really well against Tamworth. They look like they're a simple defence, but they're organised and efficient. So from offensive perspective for us, it's trying to find that something about the motion with the movement out the box, something that'll wrinkle we can take advantage of. They look well drilled. They're fairly simple defence to understand. And their offence, it's a bit like us. They've had good games and bad games. Offence takes a bit longer, and I think they're finding that in the Prem, same as us.
And are we likely to see any surprises today, or are you going to come out and just play a solid game of football?
The aim is to play a solid game, go home tonight with a big smile on my face with a win. Obviously that's down to the football gods. We're here to try. Not going to make any excuses for anything. We've got a full squad of guys, about 35, and we've come to play football, and we didn't come down to come second.
Excellent. Good to see you, Don. Thanks for the interview, and good luck with the game.
You're welcome. Thank you. Cheers.
It's always great when coaches give their time prior to a game because they're always, unbelievably busy prior to that. Interesting that Coach obviously mentioned about his fourth string quarterback there with him. We've alluded to that in the first half. How difficult does that make it really to actually not only travel the distance you have, but then, like you say, have to really go to that, plan D almost?
Yeah, exactly. It's really difficult. Especially if you trusted quarterback earlier on in the season. I mean, it sounds to me like they had some time to plan this because their fourth-string quarterback, they must have known he was going to play in Prague. But the difficulty's been when they've had to move from third-string, who got an injury, to fourth-string, Liam Brown. And he's come in and he's trying to do his best here today. There's been some issues in terms of his handoffs. Some of those balls have been a bit wayward, shall we say. And then in terms of his passing game, he struggled a little bit on third down. But he nearly gave us a surprise, didn't he, with that play action pass to number 20 down the field, and he nearly scored off the back of that one. So he's had a mixed game, but hopefully in the second half he'll have a better showing because the nerves will have settled a bit, and he'll be able maybe to get into his stride.
Sure. The coaching community in Britain is a real tight one, and they say obviously you're involved now, I was in the past, but it's pretty much the case that the coaches are willing to meet and to share, and obviously there's an event coming up at the beginning of July as well.
There is. The BAFA convention's coming up, and if you are a coach out there, it's really worth coming along. If you've never come along to BAFA before, it is a small family of coaches, that really support each other. So I had the privilege of speaking there over the last couple of years, and I know we've got some great speakers both from the United States, like Cincinnati Bengals offensive line coaches. We've got some great defensive coordinators coming through from Div 1 football as well. So you learn from the Americans, but you also build that network of coaches.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's where it really adds value, which is sharing skills and knowledge in that community.
Phoebe Schechter, I hear, coming over again as well, currently obviously with the Buffalo Bills. Phoebe?
She will.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Phoebe, if you've not heard her speak or don't know her story, she's a British-American football player, British Lions for the ladies team, great linebacker, and she'll be one of the speakers there. You'll get to see her up and close.
Practical workshops as well as the sort of seminars and lectures going on. It's being held at the De Vere Conference Centre in the grounds of Nottingham, the University of Nottingham, and obviously therefore the practical elements will go on at the David Ross Sports Centre there as well. So a great weekend from the 12th to the 14th of July. If you are involved in coaching in any way in the UK, get yourself down there for a great weekend. Back to this one then this afternoon. Can you see the team making any specific change? Are they able to make any changes to get us away from this defensive struggle?
Well, they're 0-0. They don't need to make drastic changes, and both coaches will say, all right, so we've seen what they've got on defence. Let's see what we can do with the weapons that we've got. And both these teams have weapons at running back. Nick Jones for Leicester, and Edinburgh have come out and got some weapons as well. So we need to. It really depends on how much they can scheme against these defences. Edinburgh were beginning to make some ground between the tackles against this Leicester Falcons defence, and that might be something that they look to exploit. On the other side of it, you've got Abansky and Nick Jones, both of whom can run really well. If they can get the option running attack going, as I was saying in the commentary, it could make the big difference to this game.
For me, one of the biggest factors this afternoon has been the weather and that wind. Obviously we've seen, fortunately for us in our commentary position, we've seen the majority have played down this end, and it could well be that that is decisive in the outcome of this one.
Yeah, the wind is definitely a factor. You can see it in the punts when they go into the air. You really get a sense of it. But if you're on the field, I mean, even sometimes when Abansky's going back to throw the ball, it's difficult for him even to hold the ball because the wind, once he puts that ball up close to his chin, ready to throw it, the wind is catching it. So it's tricky conditions, and the wind's not predictable. It's going in all kinds of different directions, as you can see from Matt's hair.
It is, absolutely. And as I mentioned, I'm struggling to keep that under wraps, but I'm doing my best. The one thing that gives me a little bit of hope, and it's got to be on the Falcons' mind, is that one deep ball that Brown attempted in latter stages of the second half, that fake pitch to the left, and then he came back and he had a man behind the secondary and just missed him again because of the wind. So sure, as the Falcons defensive coordinator, Rob Urquhart's got to be thinking, well, they've got that in the locker.
Yeah, and he's an aggressive coordinator, Rob. He likes to blitz. He's been blitzing Falola, number 55, off the edge. He's been blitzing him through the B-gap. One time they caught the running back in the backfield. When you're playing a running team, you want to stuff those gaps. But by doing that, you do leave yourself open at the back. Now at the moment Rob's trusting
Sure.
that Liam Brown hasn't got the arm to be able to do that, but of course it just takes one play.
Absolutely.
6-0, and games like this we've seen them win 7-6, 6-0, so, or even 3-0. So it's a couple of plays are going to make the difference. That's why defensive battles are so interesting, Matt. You never know what's going to happen.
I'll take your word for that. I'd rather have a shootout any day of the week, but we'll take your word for that. So what we'll do now, we'll go back to hear from our sponsors, and then you can rejoin us. We'll be back in the booth, and we'll run through some of the day's other scores to this point. So don't go anywhere. Our score currently at halftime here in Leicester is the Leicester Falcons 0 and the Edinburgh Wolves 0. We'll be right back after this.
Dragonfly Productions are a full-service live event production company. We can cater for all your event needs with a turnkey solution, or can support you with individual needs. We can supply production design, on-site production management, environmental design, scenic design, exhibition design and build, audio-visual design and delivery, and global support. We offer international reach and experience with partners on every continent, so quality is always assured, in-house branding and design capabilities, an in-house scenic workshop, and an in-house video production team. From a small meeting to a large symposium, your meeting will get the same attention to detail. Dragonfly Productions.
So welcome back to Beaumont Park here in Leicester, home of De Montfort University, and let's have a run down some scores from today. A little bit of a surprise maybe from yesterday. Some people would say so on the outside. Those in the know may well think this was a little bit in the offing already. The Manchester Titans were victorious, and not only victorious but shut out the Tamworth Phoenix yesterday, 21-0. Thoughts on that one, Carl?
Yeah, I was there at the game, and like I said very briefly, I think at the beginning of the game there was a really nasty double fracture injury. Manchester Titans came down the field, scored early on a run play to the left-hand side, and then on that play there was a nasty injury, and there was a long delay, at least an hour for the ambulance to arrive, and then by the time the restart had happened, a lot of supporters had left actually by that time, but it seems to have knocked Tamworth for 6, and I think it's one of those unusual ones where Tamworth were not able to be competitive. That's not to take anything away from the Titans. They looked impressive on that early drive, and they are definitely now in contention for the North.
Absolutely. Staying in the North then, obviously it's 0-0 here. Merseyside taking on the Sheffield Giants. Currently the Nighthawks winning 6-0 in the second quarter, so another battle going on there, low scoring affair. In the Prem South, Farnham Knights 12-7 ahead of the Kent Exiles. London Olympians and the London Warriors, it would appear normal service has been resumed in that one, as the Warriors have extended their lead out to 21-7 over the Olympians. Into the NFC 1 North, so in Div 1, the East Kilbride Pirates in a all-Scottish encounter with the Glasgow Tigers. The Pirates currently leading 16-0. And then moving south of the border, Gateshead against the Yorkshire Rams. The Rams in complete control there, 41-7. NFC 1 South, a little bit closer between the Lancashire Wolverines and the Shropshire Revolution, 21-14 to the Revs at the moment.
Yeah, Shropshire are erratic, aren't they? Some weeks they'll turn up and play really well, other weeks not so well. So doing well so far in that game against Lancashire.
Then into the Central Division. And in fact, looking at, we've just had an update through the Wolverines and the Revolution. It was 21-14, but we just had let me just make sure I get this accurate. There has been an update to suggest that the Wolverines have defeated the Revolution 22-21.
Yeah, there you go. The Wolverines just showing their strength there. They've been in that second place in the NFC South. It looks like they can secure that now.
Indeed. So, actually, score updates: 28-7 now. The Warriors on the Olympians. The Exiles trailing the Farnham Knights 18-7. The Yorkshire Rams 47-7. We've already told you about Lancashire against Shropshire 22-21. The Wolverines win that one. Into the Central, the SF1 Central, Oxford Saints trailing the Portsmouth Dreadnoughts 24-3. Keeping in Division, dropping down to Division 2 now. In Division 2 North, the Clyde Valley Blackhawks 24-0 ahead of the Darlington Steam. Leeds Bobcats taking it to the Nottingham Raiders. The Bobcats ahead by a score of 30-0 at the moment. The Bristol Apache 14-0 ahead of the Cornish Sharks in the West. And then in Division 2, Southern Division 2 South, Bournemouth beating the Raptors 44-6. The London Blitz B hammering the Hastings Conquerors 27-0. And finally in the SF2 East, the Norwich Devils 3-0 ahead of the East Sussex Sabres. And the East Kent Mavericks currently leading the Maidstone Pumas by 8-6. So here we go then with the second half of this one. Plenty of points around the country, thanks to double coverage for the updates on that one. Sending those through to us. Thanks to Nick and his team for those updates. And we are just about ready to get underway in the third period here with the Wolves kicking off to the Falcons. And the Falcons will be against the wind, although that wind seems to have dropped actually, Carl, at the beginning of this third period.
Yeah, it is noticeable, and the cloud cover is actually thinning now as well. So more blue sky, less wind, may get some points.
We have some international viewers this afternoon as well. Shout out to Zoe, apparently in the Philippines, watching this afternoon's stream. Hope it's nice and sunny out there for you. I'm sure it is in the Philippines, but it's great to have you on board, Zoe. If you are around and about anywhere in the country or even further afield overseas, get in touch with us if you can. Let us know you're watching, and we'll see if we can bring you any offensive highlights to go with the defensive dominance that we've seen so far today. So it will be first down for the Falcons at the culmination of this kickoff, and here we are. The third quarter is underway, and the ball hangs, and it goes to Taylor Brown, and Taylor Brown is past his 20. He saunters up to the 30, steps back to his left, and then he is met once, but he escapes those two tacklers, and he's dragged down short of midfield, and good field position for the start of this third period for the Falcons. And here is Taylor Brown again, looking like he's just sauntering along, but picks up close to 30 yards on that opening kick return.
Yeah, the Falcons that time doing a nice job on the return is Taylor. I mean, the Edinburgh Wolves did a good job in terms of getting into position, but once you're in position, you've got to bring your man to the ground first time, which they failed to do. But Taylor, we know, is a slippery character.
So let's see what Urbanski and this Falcons offense can do at the beginning of this third period. Nick Jones alongside him again, and that one's knocked out of his hands. I think that was Jones that knocked it out of his hands. And are they're calling that a fumble, or are they calling that an incomplete pass? The whistle seemed to blow before.
Yeah, his knee was down, so I think they're going to call it.
Yes, it was.
As his knee was down, so that's going to be a sack.
You're quite right.
93 took a nasty blow because he's gone to his knees to try and pick that ball up, and he's had to come off the field for Edinburgh.
That brings up 2nd and 14.
Josh Alaya taking a bit of a blow. Hope he's okay. 2nd and 11.
Yeah, it is, you're right. Our scoreboard operator not quite on the ball with that at the moment. I'm having words with him later as Urbanski flips the ball out looking for Tom Jarrett, and that's over his head.
Urbanski again just too high on those passes. It means that, when Jarrett sticks his hand out like that, the danger is the ball get tipped again, as we saw in the first half, but it was Liam Brown that did it in the first half with Edinburgh, and Urbanski nearly gave him one straight back.
He just doesn't look overly comfortable with that ball.
The handling of the ball on the snap, Matt, if you watch his handling, it needs work.
So already 3rd and long for the Falcons as a rogue ball rolls onto the field in front of us. Hoping that ball really needs to be cleared out of the way, and the officials do now spot that. Behind you, Mr. Referee, there it is. On runs the ball boy, giving a brief respite to this one. So 3rd and 11 upcoming for the Falcons on this initial drive of the second half. Abanski with the empty backfield once again. He rolls to his right, he makes one man move, tucks the ball, and now he's off. And there's a flag down, and that flag, again, I've got to say that's probably going to be against the offence, and it is. Whether it's an illegal block or if it's a hold, that one's coming back. So all of Abanski's good work is undone once again.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Abanski, I mean, that is where he is so effective. But these offensive linemen not doing him any favours. Although I guess they would argue they're protecting their quarterback. But on those run plays, he's a big, strong lad. He doesn't need him to hold for.
Illegal use of hands in the back, 74 of the offence. 10-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
So there it is, illegal block in the back.
That's James Simpson getting caught on that one.
So
got to be smart on that edge.
So from 3rd and 11, it brings up 3rd and 21, and now you're thinking, well, you've got to put this in the hands of Abanski initially to look to see if he can find a receiver, but again he's battling against the wind as well, and he doesn't seem to have a very, the spiral isn't overly tight, and if you're not throwing a tight spiral in these conditions, then you're going to struggle. He's got time this time, but now he tucks it and he goes up the middle and he makes 2 men miss, the ball pops out and it's dropped on by a Falcon, and there's another flag down.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll have a look on the replay, but you can see Abanski there just holding the ball in one hand, and that's just a smart play by the linebacker who comes in to strip it out. Leicester Falcons quick enough, but Abanski's handling of the football just needs some work, in terms of...
There is no foul on the play.
In terms of both
4th down.
In terms of both securing the football from the snap, but also when he transitions from a passing quarterback into a running quarterback, you've got to act then as a running back. You've got to protect the ball, especially when there's players around you. That means getting 2 hands on the football. That means covering up. That means holding it high and tight. And on that occasion, just caught laps.
And if nothing else, having that awareness that there are people around you and making sure that you transition that ball from that one arm into the two, like you say. And we've noticed that Abanski in the first half didn't seem to have a lot of pocket awareness and knowing when people are around. That's well taken. Sorry to interrupt myself, but that's well taken off his bootlaces. Is that Ash Hopkinson again on punt return duties?
Yeah, decent return from Ash Hopkinson.
I don't know if we've got a replay on that, but he did manage to pick that ball up off his shoelaces and take it very cleanly and pick up positive yardage. We've now got a Falcon down. When the medical staff are in that position where they're securing their head, that is not. There we have that punt return. That's not a good position for a player to be in. Just out of its shot at the moment. Yeah, you can see there just behind the down marker is the man in receipt of medical attention. But I say the head is being held in position, which I never like to see.
Yeah, Desi, their physio, coming on to take a look at him. She's been stalwart throughout the season for these Leicester Falcons, doing her job. Hopefully this play is going to be okay, and it's just a precaution, but we'll see.
So once again, we have a bit of a lull in proceedings. So therefore, at this point, we're able to bring you word from our team of sponsors who are enabling us to put things on for you today. Boss Construction is an independent building contractor specialising in conversions, alterations and extensions. We aim to deliver a stunning finish at affordable prices. We also want to make the experience as painless as possible so you can enjoy your new home. That's Boss Construction, another one of our partners today. And finally, our fourth partner for this afternoon, Cross Productions. Our unique blend of creative ideas and digital campaigns are all designed with one key ingredient in mind, which is to help your business grow and reach new heights in this ever so competitive digital industry. From strategic consultancy services, bespoke design and development campaigns, right until planning your big launch, we deliver the full package to help you on your road to success. So thanks as ever. We mentioned in the first half, we mentioned Southall & Co, Growth Partners, Boss Construction and Cross Productions in this second half. Thanks as ever to our sponsors who all enable these productions to go on. And UK AFL goes from strength to strength. That's a very welcome sign that injured player is back on his feet and walking back to the sideline.
Yeah, that's really good to see. So he did Ben Tincello, who's played well. We've called his name a number of times, playing that linebacker position, and just took a blow there.
So, first possession of the third period for the Wolves. And again, they have the wind at their backs. Falcons have the sun in their eyes. And Brown and that rushing attack, this time with Gregor Clay in the backfield. A high snap, and Clay gets the handoff, and he bounces through the middle, where he's met by number 42 for the Falcons for a pickup of 4.
Yeah, good solid tackle there from 42, and a decent run. So opening their account on this series are these Edinburgh Wolves. Let's see if they can make a dent on this scoreline, which is still 0-0.
Is it?
In case you've just joined us.
Okay, in case you've just joined us indeed, as Clay gets the ball once again, and that's a good barraging run, and that should be good enough for first down, as there's a lineman, Wolves lineman on the floor on his back, and play is waved dead as this young man will receive some attention, but I say that will be enough for first down yardage. No flags on the play. Positive.
Yeah, you don't see Luke Geary, number 91, fall over too much on his back, but he took a blow for the Leicester Falcons. He's gone off the field, and the Edinburgh Wolves player is obviously down as well, so some damage taken on that down. And it is between the tackles that these Edinburgh Wolves are now trying to attack this Leicester Falcons defence. As we said, not had much chance running to the edge. Now they're trying to attack these A's and B gaps and see what they can get going.
So we're here today in Leicester bringing you this game between the Falcons and the Wolves. Next weekend we are back in Leicester as the Falcons welcome the Tamworth Phoenix, and that's the Tamworth Phoenix side, as we mentioned earlier, who are coming off the back of a shutout against the Manchester Titans, and that's, to me, like a bit of a wounded animal that we can expect here next week.
Yeah, Tamworth scored 50 points to nothing against this Edinburgh team, but you know, Tamworth, are they the team that they were last season? You know, they don't have Pat Daly. He's not there as their quarterback this year, and he obviously gives them a lot of dynamic play that they just haven't seen this year for their offense. So nevertheless, they have managed to put up 50 burgers, as I said, against Edinburgh, and you know, they are still a very, very dangerous team. But that Manchester Titans result yesterday, a real shock for the whole league.
Absolutely. And unfortunately this Wolves player still remains injured. I think back to our very first commentary game we ever did, Cole, with the Nottingham Caesars way back, and there was one injury that went on there which left us talking for nearly 3 hours, I believe, until the ambulance arrived, and it's quite a serious back injury. Thankfully the player made a full recovery, but that was an interesting outing on our first trip out in the world of commentary.
We ran out of people to interview, didn't we? I think we were interviewing the ball boys by the end of that one.
I think we were,
and that was probably our most interesting interview, to be honest. But yes, these injuries sometimes can take long, especially if yesterday's injury for Tamworth, you know, the poor guy in a lot of pain with a double fracture, and the ambulance was there fairly quickly, but it still means a delay, because you can't move that player. You have to be really careful if there's bones broken, especially, and you have to make sure that the players are going to have the best chance of recovery. In order to do that, it takes time to make sure they're secure and safe. I do remember that Doncaster player in the end, after 3 hours of him lying there on the sideline, I think somebody grabbed him and
dragged him off.
They did. Which
I think
probably wasn't the best practice, but I'm sure he's okay.
I think at the time there, Steve Matthews used all his bandwidth. I think we were struggling to keep things going, but let's try and catch up around the country while I've got this delay once again. Where are we? Here we go then. June the 15th it is today. The Bournemouth Bobcats beating the Jurassic Coast Raptors 44-6 in the Division 2 encounter. We've already told you that the Wolverines have put away the Shropshire Revolution 22-21. We know from yesterday, and we've just alluded to it earlier, the Manchester Titans shut out the Tamworth Phoenix 27-0. Let's keep going. The Farnham Knights beating up the Kent Exiles 28-7. As are the Leeds Bobcats against the Nottingham Raiders 36-0 in Div 2. The Clyde Valley Black Hawks shutting out the Darlington Steam again in Division 2, 30-0. Merseyside against Sheffield, 13-0 currently in favour of the Nighthawks. We know about the 0-0 here. The Warriors extend their lead in that all-London affair against the Olympians, 34-7 now. The Warriors ahead. Let's keep this going. The East Kilbride Pirates taking on the Glasgow Tigers, and 16-0 in favour of the Tigers currently. Wembley and Colchester. This is a 3 o'clock kickoff in Division 1. We're still down as a first quarter score, but obviously with this time being 4 o'clock just gone, and that is way in there, but it was 0-0 at that point. East Kent against Maidstone, an all Kent affair, 8-6 in favour of the Mavericks. And you are just about up to speed. Bristol Apache half-time score against the Cornish Sharks, 14-0. Although once again that was a 2 o'clock kickoff, and so I'm sure we are a bit further on than that.
Yeah, this player's still down. Desi's with him. Don't know whether an ambulance has been called yet, but the Edinburgh Wolves teams come out to support them as well. So both these teams now concerned about this player. We're just hoping he's safe. If you look at this Premiership North Division, it's very interesting now to have a look at the table. With Tamworth is still top despite the loss yesterday, with 5 wins and that 1 loss to Manchester. And then actually it's Merseyside that are listed as second with 4 wins and 1 loss. But Manchester Titans now with 4 wins and that 1 loss, and that means that it's very close at the top of this North division in the Premiership. But then you've got 3 teams other than those, Tamworth, Merseyside and Manchester, all of who are vying now for the top place. Then you've got the also rounds, Leicester, Edinburgh, Sheffield, who are looking at just keeping in the race and keeping in the hunt. So the division's really been split into 2 now. You've got the race for the top and a playoff berth and a potential championship, and then you've also got these kind of Leicester, Edinburgh and Sheffield who are just, let's be honest, just trying to stay in this division.
Coach Kassar mentioned in his interview about the fact that, like you said, there's very much this top and bottom. It's not sort of a graduation through the division. It's a top 3 and a bottom 3, and those bottom 3 are the Falcons, the Wolves and the Giants, who are, like you say, very much scrapping it out for that relegation.
And when these teams get on the field, it's not as uncompetitive as that might suggest, Matt. I mean, we've covered the games. They've been competitive games, even between Manchester and Leicester, and when it's not such a clear split and play on play, they are competitive in terms of their athletic ability. But it just seems that those teams that we mentioned at the top there, Tamworth, Merseyside and Manchester, just have the edge in terms of their consistency and their ability to consistently field a team that scores points and has an effective offence.
A couple of years ago, we saw the Tamworth Phoenix crowned British champions, and we wondered whether or not at that time there was going to be a little bit of a shift in the power between North and South. You'd got at that point, you'd got the Phoenix, you'd got Manchester, who had recently been promoted. You'd got the likes of Leicester knocking at the door, and there was very much this sense of, has momentum shifted from the dominance of the South that had been for numerous years before that? But now we look at things, and with the fact that, like you say, Tamworth are faltering with all the players they've lost, and Merseyside knocking on the door, Manchester's strong, but at the same time, can anybody compete with those London Warriors, Cole?
It was really a magical season, wasn't it, that one with Tamworth won that? I mean, they did so well to beat the Warriors in the semis and then got to the Blitz, and it was such a fantastic game. I remember your commentary, which was outstanding, Matt, on that game, so well done on that. But it was a magical season for them. They haven't been able to reach those heights since that time. And the Warriors have kind of, I think, unless you have competition, you get complacent. I mean, you would, wouldn't you? If you're the London Warriors, you think, well, year on year we're there or thereabouts, we're winning 10 times.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do we keep our edge? And you need those teams like Tamworth to really provide that threat. You need the teams like the Blitz to keep your saw sharp if you're the Warriors, and that's what we really need in British football. But we're not seeing that in the North. I haven't seen the games from the South so far this season, but I'm not getting the sense that the quality of Northern play is going to equal that of the South this year.
And is that equaling that of the South, or would you? And again, like you say, it's difficult to know when you've not actually seen those. But would you suggest that maybe the likes of the Blitz and the Olympians and the Sussex Thunder are almost comparable to those teams in the North, the Manchesters, the Merseysides, and then you've got the Warriors, who are just that next echelon higher, whereby if the Warriors weren't there, the competitiveness between North and South would be closer.
Yeah, you get the sense this season that the Warriors are in a league of their own, no doubt about it, and they will be very, very difficult to stop, or some kind of anomaly will happen in a game, some kind of freak play to get them defeated. So it does look uncompetitive. It looks like the Warriors are going to defend their national championship and do it easily, but we've still got games to play. Tamworth, let's see how they respond from this beating that they got yesterday from Manchester. Jason Scott is a very innovative, creative coach. I've coached against him, and I know how he thinks and how creative he can be, and he will take that as a personal challenge, and he'll want his team to come back, and he'll want them to come back, but not only come back, but come back stronger.
So I think what we might do during this this extended period out where that Wolves player is still on his back is we may well hopefully go to a bit of an advert break in a couple of minutes, take time out, just regroup, give us a chance to wet our whistle a little and have a bit of a break, and then come back to you after that time. We obviously hope that these Wolves and this particular individual is not as seriously injured as it may appear, although with the length of time now that he has been prone, then it gets more and more worrying, particularly with the amount of players that are around him. So what we will do is we'll go to a short ad break, hear from our sponsors, and show you a little bit more of what's going on, and then we will rejoin you for the remainder of this game after that. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Dragonfly Productions are a full-service live event production company. We can cater for all your event needs with a turnkey solution, or can support you with individual needs. We can supply production design, on-site production management, environmental design, scenic design, exhibition design and build, audio-visual design and delivery, and global support. We offer international reach and experience with partners on every continent, so quality is always assured, in-house branding and design capabilities, an in-house scenic workshop, and an in-house video production team. From a small meeting to a large symposium, your meeting will get the same attention to detail. Dragonfly Productions.
Welcome back to Leicester. That brief interruption in play. We're glad to say that Wolf player has been removed from the field. Carl, you got an update on his condition?
Yeah, it's Daryl Thompson, number 78, who has got good feeling in his arms. It wasn't actually concussed when he went down, so it was precautionary. They have taken him off on a stretcher, but speaking to the Edinburgh Wolves players and the coaches, they say it is precautionary and he should be okay. So that is Daryl Thompson. We're sending him our best and hopefully make a very quick recovery.
Now this is always interesting. Obviously you can see the Falcons on the far side there warming up once again after that extended break. I remember back to my 49ers who were playing the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl, and the Superdome lights all went out, and at that point, you know, the Niners were on the back foot, and we were Tom Howe, who's a a fellow Niners fan, we were in the depths of despair, and then that break sort of ignited the Niners, and we should have won that Super Bowl. We were cheated. I'm convinced it was because of Ray Lewis was retiring, and the NFL fixed it so he could walk off into the sunset.
It was a Ray Lewis conspiracy.
Absolutely, 100%. Definitely a pass interference call on Crabtree at the end there. But anyway, we digress. But the reason I was mentioning that is because a breaking play like that can sometimes shift momentum. Now, I don't know really who you'd give momentum to in this game, and who that break may favour or be of detriment to more, but
it's like you start the half again. So you've had a half an hour break, you start the half again, it's 0-0. You start the game again because the score's level. So let's just start again. We've got, third down. We're into the third quarter. So you just tell your players, look, let's buckle down. We're still in this, but we've really got to make something happen now. 1st and 10 for these Edinburgh Wolves, and they're at about the midway point.
It was, if you remember, before the break, it was that impressive run by Jones, I believe, who brought up the first down. So it is 1st down and 10, just about midfield for the visiting Wolves. Still relatively early in this third period, as you mentioned, and here comes Brown. Brown hands the ball off, and once again there's a flag down, and that's in the vicinity of holding or an illegal block once again.
Matt W. Simons, number 16, on the run that time.
That's holding against the Wolves is indeed the call.
Here's the replay. Simons looking to his left.
Holding, offence, number 77. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat 1st down.
Unfortunately, don't have a player name for number 77. He's probably glad of that, where we can't call his name for that infringement.
Yeah, they're beginning to have some success on this running game. That time they're just running through that C gap and making some ground to the left-hand side. Even though it was called back, these holes are beginning to open up for this Leicester Falcons defence.
So instead of 1st and 10, it's now 1st and 15 after the penalty. And Brown pitches to the right and then comes back to the left, and those blitzing linebackers and defensive linemen for the Falcons managed to snuff that one out before anything has been gained, as you can see on this replay call.
Yeah, you called it, Matt. The blitz on the A gaps. Look, running backs got good. They've got good contain on the edge of 94, and there's absolutely nowhere to go because they're blitzing the A gaps anyway. So, when an offense is predictable like this and can't get anything going through the air, you can crowd the line of scrimmage. You can send those run blitzing linebackers, and it makes it very, very difficult to run because there's just nowhere to run to,
and nowhere to hide. Martha
Absolutely.
And the Vandellas. So here we go. 2nd and 18 for the Wolves. Currently going in the wrong direction towards their own goal line rather than the Falcons. And there's that run up the middle once again. That stopped almost immediately. Picks up maybe 3.
Yeah, and they're better off just running those quick hitting runs up the middle there, even though they're gaining less yards. Adatoli made 2 tackles in a row now, number 92 at that defensive tackle position for Leicester. So really tightening up in the middle of that defence of Leicester.
Do we see Brown go to the air here with the wind at his back?
Well, he's going to have to do something. They'll either go wide to the right-hand side, which is the wide side of the field, or he's going to go to the air. Yes, 3rd down.
3rd and 15, Taylor Brown. He mishandles the snap, and that really affects what he can do. But now he puts the ball down and runs, and he's going to... Oh! And from our viewing point, Taylor Brown, perfect form tackle, shoulder low, up high, and pops Brown.
Yeah, you can see it on the replay. Taylor's just got his eyes in, and he's just going to lower the boom right there, and Liam doesn't have a chance. Straight out and down. Nice, clean tackle from Taylor Brown.
Good textbook tackle there. If you're coaching at all, that's a good model way of tackling there from Taylor Brown. And you'd have thought, if I saw you, could see Liam Brown looking at Taylor and kind of almost stopping. Didn't really want any part of that.
No, you either get the hell out of bounds or you lower your own shoulder. But what you don't do is stand there and say, all right, Taylor, after you, sir.
4th and 6 now, and the punt team is on. It's a high kick. Taylor signals fair catch, and he does safe as houses under those high balls, is Taylor. And the Falcons will take over on their latest possession on their own 20-yard line.
So it's the same old story in the third quarter with some success in the running game, then this Leicester Falcons defence tightening in those A and B gaps, sending those run blitzing linebackers. So Rob Urquhart doing a good job making adjustments when he needs to. And Edinburgh don't seem to have anything else. You know, on third down and long, you want to think to yourself, all right, well, what can I do third and 12? If it's just going to drop Liam Brown back and hope for the best that a receiver's going to get open, it's just not happening.
Absolutely. So here we go then, Abanski again on this latest possession for the home team. And Abanski fakes that handoff and obviously saw something that he liked in order to maintain possession of the ball, but maybe that wasn't the best decision.
Steve McDonald again, we called his name on the sack earlier, and he's there to that kind of predator defensive end, doing a good job to play from a 2-point stance and squeeze the quarterback down and then tackle him for no gain. Abanski now going to the air. Again, the hook pass. It is complete, but very little gain there. It's not going to... we're going to have a look at the replay. You can see what they're doing, just running into space, a little bit of space there. Tom Jarrett turns around, the ball's delivered a little bit better, but it's still low, and a couple of yards on second down.
So 3rd and 4 upcoming. Again, Falcons obviously will want to convert here, but...
empty set again, Matt, on this. 5 receivers out.
Oh, and that's a false start. False start by number 69 of the offence.
Dead ball prior to the snap. False start. Offense number 69. 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
Fortunately for number 69 for the Falcons, don't appear to have a name linked to that jersey either, so save his blushes on there. But that will be a 5-yard penalty, and we'll bring up 3rd and 9.
3rd and 9, empty set. See what Abanski can do.
Drops back to pass, and now sometimes he's getting squashed from the edges, and that is a fantastic defensive effort by number 90, Michael Thomas. And this could be advantage Wolves with the upcoming punt into the wind.
Yeah, if you look at the replay again, it's that nose tackle position, defensive tackle position. Number 90 just got a good rush, kind of bull rush, but with his shoulder forced that guard back into the gap. And again, Abanski tries to step up. Nothing there because the pressure's coming from the middle of that defense.
Danny Burton now standing on his own 4-yard line. Ash Hopkinson back around midfield. So something's got to give at some point here this afternoon. It's a better kick by Burton into the wind. Hopkinson thinks about fielding it and then does after one bounce. He comes round, he hurdles a man, stays in bounds, and he's then pushed out of bounds. But there is that a flag? No, it's a cone. I thought it was a flag on the sideline, but it appears to be a split yellow cone disguising itself as an official's flag. So Merseyside have the ascent. Merseyside aren't even playing. Edinburgh have the ascendancy now.
Eagle-eyed as always, Matt, spotting that cone and that Merseyside were on the field. Edinburgh have good position. I think it's Edinburgh.
It is Edinburgh. It is. I was maybe hoping that I was watching the Merseyside game because there's some points there at least. But no, Edinburgh inside Falcons territory. There's going to this drive, Carl. I'm calling it. This drive, we're having a score.
It's going to happen.
We're having a score on this drive.
All right, here we go. Liam Brown with the snap. He's going to the air.
He's going deep. He's got a man. It's holding up there. Oh, and who is it? It's that man, Taylor Brown. Unbelievable reception.
I mean,
interception.
It's just great defense.
Here we go, Cole.
Lloyd Dignan's number 20. Liam Brown goes back and he lofts one up. It's a decent pass. It's got some air underneath it, which allows Taylor to be the receiver. I mean, he just snatches it from Digman at the last second. And that's just great play from Taylor Brown. But also, you know, he's just that safety that plays roaming in the backfield there, and he's just able to track that football down. So that's going to give Leicester Falcons the ball back, but they are going to be backed up right at their 2-yard line.
I was 2 yards away from getting that call right about a score.
When the ball was released by Liam Brown, I thought, my God, Matt Walker's just made the prediction of the season, and Taylor Brown snatched it away from you.
Well, safety opportunity for the Wolves. 2 yards away, and great vantage point this time for us. Best vantage point we've had. Don't need the monitor this time as Abanski is in his own end zone, and he hands this ball off to Nick And Nick Jones has got space over the left side, and maybe it's going the other way because he's got enough space for a first down and then some up close to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, you often see that actually, because what happens is the defense, obviously they want the safety, so they bring defensive linemen and linebackers up to that line of scrimmage, and if a back can get through that initial line of scrimmage, they often run into space because the linebackers are all up trying to get pressure and force that safety. So Nick doing a good job there, Nick Brown, and giving the Leicester Falcons some breathing space.
Yeah, the pressure is alleviated for now. Abansky again hands that ball off, and dodging and tripping his way through that defensive front of the Wolves is Jones once again, I believe.
Yeah, Nick Jones. I might call him Nick Brown earlier, so apologies for that. That is Nick Jones, number 23.
We've got Liam Brown, we've got Taylor Brown. Let's just make it easier for us. We've now got Nick Brown. Is Charlie Brown around anywhere? Oh, peanuts. Anyway, here we go on second down. 2nd and 8, and that ball again, a low ball for Dan Burton, and Dan Burton's athleticism manages to haul that in, unless they're calling that incomplete, are they?
I was very much incomplete. I think bounced off the turf,
took a one hopper. So 3rd and 7 upcoming. Maybe a long 7, 8 yards. 3rd down again, and
so Abansky needs to, I mean, if I'm Abansky, what I do is I take the snap, I step back, I look to throw, and then I just run. And it's like, you just run with the ball and use what you're good at, do what you're good at.
But like you've said, that defensive front has very much contained him. Here he comes now, that he's looking, and now he does take off, tucks that, but he's carrying that ball still one-handed. He's okay still, and he goes around the left edge, makes one man miss, trucks through another, and he's out of bounds up to about the 45-yard line. 1st down, Leicester.
Yeah, so an Abansky scamper to the right-hand side, and that's not just netting them first down, but netting them all the way up to the halfway point now, really. You're close to that, maybe on the 46. So Abansky doing what he's good at, and that's what you need, just stick to that. Let's go. If we get, let's try and get into a manageable 3rd down situations, but good running on 1st and 2nd down, and then Abansky, let's just give him the ball and let him run.
So here we go, 1st down. Jones this time off to the left side. Outside the tackle, and there's a hold or an illegal block being thrown. Probably the best throw of the afternoon by the official, to be fair, the distance that flag travelled.
Yeah, beautiful spiral on
Absolutely.
that flag.
Let's see if we can pick up anything here on the replay.
Nick Jones to his left.
I think that's probably a hold there in the middle.
Number 60.
There it is.
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat 1st down.
So 1st and 10 becomes 1st and 20.
Tell you what, that sun's hot now, Matt.
I say, we started off in January, we went through sort of March and April and bypassed May, and we properly are in the British summer now. If this is what we're getting for the British summer, which is mildly disappointing, although this time last year we were all moaning that we were melting for a prolonged period. Those Brits are never happy with this weather, are we? So here we go, 1st and 18-ish actually, as once again the ball is handed off.
Yeah, they've gone back to the offense that they were running last year in Div 1, which is, you got the quarterback, and then you got to his left is Nick Jones, and to his right Adam Edwards comes in this time as the 3rd string running back to pick up a few yards and make his contribution to the day. So, they're going back to what worked for them last year, having to dig deep to get anything going against this Edinburgh Wolves defence.
Absolutely. So here we go then on 2nd and 14-ish. Abansky with that empty backfield once again, and he drops back and picked up the pressure, but now he's looking and he steps through, but he steps out of a tackle as well. It's number 93.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Josh Alea, sorry, Carl.
Yeah, if you watch Abansky here, it's clear that at this point now he's decided to run, but there really is nowhere to run to again, and uses his athletic ability to dance out of a couple of tackles, but good pursuit by this Edinburgh Wolves. They've done this all day long. 3rd and long.
3rd and long it is. And once again, Edinburgh will be wanting to get this football back before the 3rd period ends to maybe try and use that wind again. There's no reason really at 0-0 why you shouldn't gamble. That last ball that Taylor picked, massively athletically, could have easily gone the other way.
Absolutely. Patterson checking in now on the left. Adam Edwards a single back in the backfield.
And Danny Burton out wide to the left. He looks his head. Oh, there's a flag coming out. and stopping the
they
play.
would blow it dead there. Just have
Illegal
to check
procedure, a false start has been issued, signalled rather. That's going to tack 5 yards extra on to the Leicester cause. Whether it was too many men in the backfield or not enough men on the line of scrimmage, whichever one of those you want to call, pretty much the same thing really, but let's have a listen to our officials.
Dead ball prior to the snap, false start, offence, 5 yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
So from 3rd and 19 it becomes 3rd and 24. It makes it that much more difficult with Edwards and Patterson now in the backfield. Are they in to run? I would have thought they're going to be in for pass protection, but no, Patterson is given the football and he bounces off the left side and all the way to the sideline where he picks up positive yardage. But it's going to be shy of a 1st down.
Yeah, 3rd and 24. You're just going to hand it off to your running back, see whether they can make something happen. Patterson picks up 15, but he's still going to be 9-10 yards short on that. So it will bring up 4th down.
4th and 7 with the score at 0-0. Danny Burton looks like he's on to kick once again. And this defensive slugfest continues.
Just watch it on midfield. Yeah, we're midfield, 4th and 7. These are the sorts of plays that can make a difference if you can fake this and get something going. So just keep an eye on that.
Nice snap. Burton fields it well when that ball is up. Lovely high hanging kick this time. And Hopkinson doesn't want anything to do with this. It takes a Leicester bounce. And the Wolves will pick it up just inside their 30-yard line.
So it might take a special teams play to blow this one open because both of these defences have the measure of their offensive counterparts, which is why we still have a 0-0 game. So we'll see. It may take a fake punt like that to see if they can get actually into make a 1st down.
So we could be on our way though as we roll towards the end of the 3rd period. Could be on our way to a dramatic, enthralling 0-0 call.
Yeah, that would set the league alight.
Might make me hand my resignation in. Happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there who are enjoying spending quality time with your children, wherever you may be. As Liam Brown takes a high snap and he's tackled for a loss on 1st down.
Yeah, again, difficult with handling the ball that time. Not Liam Brown's fault. The snap was high and to his right. So he did enough just to retain possession, but not an auspicious start to this drive for the Edinburgh Wolves. So the woes of both these offensive teams continue.
It's going to be 2nd and about 14-ish. And yeah, now again, momentum swinging. If the Falcons can keep the pressure on and keep the Wolves down this end of the field, can't be long left in this 3rd period. Then we switch ends and the Falcons will be really, really knocking on the door if they can maintain this position, this field position advantage. But
I wonder whether the Wolves are going to go back to that Lloyd Dignan, play action, deep pass. But this time, maybe run it to the corner. Don't run it to the post.
Yeah,
because you want to run Taylor Brown.
You're inviting
out
Taylor
of the
in.
Play.
Yeah, you're inviting Taylor in, throwing down the seam there, definitely. Slight delay. Try and keep you updated with other goings on in the Britball community this afternoon as we carry on, and also remind you of our sponsors too. But here comes 2nd and 14. Liam Brown still waiting for the official to wave time on, and there we go. So 2nd and 14, Wolves. Ball this time is faked on the inside and flipped out, and that's over the outstretched arms of number 10.
Yeah, got no name for that player, but when you've got to stretch out to try and make a diving catch in your own backfield, you know that your offence isn't clicking as it might want to.
In fact, I think it was 18. I think it was Gregor Clay there from our restricted viewing point here this afternoon. So 3rd down and 14 is upcoming. It's from bad to worse for the Wolves. But still, as we've said, it is in the balance. As much as I'm being a bit pessimistic about this 0-0 scoreline, we still do not know the outcome of this one as the ball is handed off to Clay this time. Picks up positive yardage at least, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough to move the chains.
Yeah, it's just conservative play by Edinburgh. They know they're backed up in their own half. I mean, it's not a dumb play by the offensive coordinator by any means.
Nope.
It's a smart play. You know, it's a 0-0 game, and the result of this game is more important than trying to do something flash, messing it up for your team and giving a score to the Leicester Falcons. So playing it safe, see if they can get this punt away and give their defence a chance to make a play. Maybe, Matt, this is going to come down to a defensive play. A turnover, an interception, a fumble recovery, run down the field by a big defensive line. We all love those plays,
We
Matt.
do. I mean, and to be fair, in terms of it being defensive, there's not been that many turnovers. We've had 2 interceptions. We've had 2 interceptions, both by Taylor Brown. One by Taylor, and I think that was partially blocked. But there's a flag there, and that could be roughing or running into the kicker, where that flag has been. And there's another flag thrown at a Leicester Falcons player.
Yes, and I think that the Leicester Falcons players actually tried to catch that flag.
Yeah, I think
so
yes.
Could have had a 3rd flag.
So let's wait and hear this, but that could well be, depending whether it's the 5-yard variety or the 15-yard variety, it could still be Wolves' ball. Let's wait and see. Right, here we go. Score updates while we're waiting. Prem, we know 21-0, already covered that one. Manchester over Tamworth yesterday. Merseyside Nighthawks 13-0 ahead of the Sheffield Giants still. Farnham beating Kent 28-7. Still waiting for some word from our officials. I will keep updating you until we get any confirmation. And here comes our official. Not just yet, he doesn't. So
There he goes.
Let's keep going. The Warriors 34-7 on top of the Olympians. 16-0 the Pirates of East Kilbride against the Tigers of Glasgow. 53-7 the Yorkshire Rams beating up on the Gateshead Senators. We heard that the Wolverines beat the Revolution 22-21 in the NFC 1 South. In the SFC 1 Central, close between the Sussex Thunder and the Berkshire Renegades. 7-6 in favour of the Thunder. The Dreadnoughts 30-10 ahead of the Oxford Saints. The Clyde Valley Blackhawks shutting out to the Darlington Steam 30-0, as are the Leeds Bobcats 44-0 ahead of the Nottingham Raiders. And another shutout to the Bristol Apache 21-0 ahead of the Cornish Sharks. And as if we haven't had enough of the shutout variety, the Blitz 39, the Blitz B 39-0 ahead of the Hastings Conquerors in the SFC South Division 2. Finally, in the East Division 2 of the Southern Football Conference, the Norwich Devils 3-0 ahead of the East Essex Sabres. And the East Kent Mavericks 22-13 ahead of the Maidstone Pumas.
Yeah, we're still really waiting for the referee to tell us exactly what happened on that play, but the Edinburgh Wolves have a 1st down.
We have 2 fouls on the play.
Here we go.
We have roughing the kicker, defence, and we have a dead ball, personal foul after the play was over. Personal foul, number 36 of the defence. Both of those penalties are administered as 15 yards. It'll be 1st down, Gray.
So the Wolves catch a massive break. We mentioned it might be special teams, and that could be something on special teams. 30 yards worth of penalties in one play puts the Wolves inside the Falcons' half.
Yeah, Chris Hoyt with the 15-yarder unsportsmanlike.
So now this could open up the Wolves playbook and encourage Coach Edmondson and Liam Brown to go to the air again. But as you said, it would be wise to throw away from Taylor Brown. And this time, on 1st down it's pitched, and that's oh dear. A little bit too much velocity on that pitch. Threw the ball at his running back rather than to him.
Yeah, Edinburgh are not happy that their player went to ground, and then it looked like Leicester Falcons were diving on. I don't actually think they were. But it was close to the Edinburgh sideline, and the players and the coaches are always going to scream for bloody murder if a player jumps on the ball like that.
From our vantage point, it didn't appear that the runner had actually secured possession of the ball, and therefore that Leicester player was going in, giving it a go himself. But
that's what you get with a fourth string quarterback. You just it's not even Liam's fault. He's just not had time.
Edinburgh, first charge timeout of the second half.
He's just not had time to practice these handoffs or pitches, and so on that one it was just too much on the football. You just didn't need to put that much zing on it, and a disaster averted by the quick response of the running back just to dive on it.
So during this timeout, let's hear from our sponsors again, one of which are Southall & Co. They're a bespoke specialist law firm in the heart of Leicester. We were born out of a long-standing West Midlands practice, which was a family practice of one of our founders, and a progressive, dynamic East Midlands law firm. Our goal is to be one of the leading commercial boutique law firms, not only in the Midlands, but the entirety of England and Wales. By understanding your business and what is important to you, this enables us to offer sound, pragmatic commercial advice and answers to the plethora of complex questions you may have. And that is Southall & Co. Law Firm from Leicester, one of our sponsors for this afternoon. So as we come back out of this timeout on 2nd and long, after that rather vociferous pitch by Liam Brown, a very disjointed second half with the injury and the penalties, and it's been
a long third quarter.
It has. It almost seems like these players are struggling to get through this one as much as we are on comms.
But the use of the word vociferous, I thought at this point in the game, was admirable, Matt.
I try to garner as many complex vocabulary as as I'm able to enlighten. As Liam goes up top and he's thrown away from Taylor, but that's one's underhanging. He's looking for that same man, that number 20. Not called his name. We have obviously Lloyd Dignan is that intended receiver again. And to be fair to Dignan, he does have the wheels to get past the secondary. And you can see both on that play and the Brown interception, that ball's gone up, and that was more aimed towards the sideline. But the ball has brought the wind. The wind has brought the ball back towards the centre and just out of the grasp of Dignan.
Yeah, he's a couple of times he's beaten Chris Hoyt, number 36, who's the defender they've put on him, but they've just not been able to connect. That's 3 times, 1 pick to Taylor Brown and 2 incompletions. So I think Leicester are winning that one. I don't think they're going to go back to it.
I don't think they will now, particularly now it's the start of the 4th quarter and they have lost that advantage of the wind. So yes, it could well be running game all the way now on 3rd and 15. And running game all the way means the clock speeds up a little. I'm sounding very pessimistic here, aren't I?
You're waiting to get back for those Father's Day celebrations. That's all right.
Absolutely. So here comes 3rd and 15 at the start of the 4th and final period of this Premiership North encounter between the Leicester Falcons and the Edinburgh Wolves. What's worse, is it worth going back up to Scotland with a defeat or a 0-0 tie?
I think you want the tie. I mean, of course you want the tie.
Yeah.
But neither of these teams are going to be satisfied with a tie because it leaves them in the same position they were at the start of the game. Nothing's decided. So, you're going to go back and still with the same set of frustrations that you had at the beginning.
So here we go. High snap fielded by Brown. It's handed off this time to Gregor Clay. And Gregor Clay manages to stay on his feet, pick up positive yardage, but that will bring up 4th down. And the only bonus is that the punter will be kicking from just about inside the Falcons' half. So should be able to pin Leicester back deep in its own territory.
I mean, I don't know what the stats are saying, but it's a fairly even game. I would probably give the edge in terms of possession to Edinburgh in Q3.
Are there any stats? Has there been any stats in this game?
Well, there's certainly been some yards made.
Defensive ones.
Sacks,
loads of defensive
interceptions,
stats. Picks and battered down balls and pass rushing and all sorts of things. And here comes a snap, well fielded, good kick, hanging kick again. And it takes a massive Falcons bounce, and to be fair, that's going to be a net punt of about 9 yards.
Yeah, really disappointing, because if you've got a good defence, you want the punter to at least put him inside the 20, so you can make a play on defence, give the defence a chance to make a difference in this game. But even that is eluding both teams at the moment.
Will we see Urbanski go to the air in this fourth period and try and emulate what Liam Brown was attempting in that third period?
Well, I was speaking to one of the receivers, Tayo Adekunle, before the game. He says that Urbanski's got an arm. He just hasn't used it. He's certainly not used it in this game. They haven't taken a shot deep the entire game. If they've got something up their sleeve, now's the time.
Well, he's very edgy in that pocket, isn't he? Obviously, the pressure's coming from the edges, and this time the ball's handed off. But he doesn't seem comfortable in that pocket, both from the perspective of his lineman, and obviously that defensive front for the Wolves has caused him problems all day. But equally, he just seems very tetchy, quick to tuck that ball and run because it's what he's comfortable doing. Obviously, like you say, from that wishbone offense that he's been used to running at Coventry.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he does here on 2nd down and 8. He kept that ball on 1st down, and this time he once again...
Yeah, they are trying to go to the option run. They're trying to... But you can tell that they've not had a huge amount of time to practice it because Urbanski's kind of holding the ball out, but it's pretty obvious who's retaining it. It's Urbanski, and the misdirection play's not really working. If you watch on the replay, both runners moving in the same direction, which is not ideally what you want on the option. So they are trying to use Urbanski's skills and do something a little bit more deceptive on this drive. Let's see how they get on.
They set up a 3rd and 2 here, and that's Edwards. And Edwards barreling up the middle, and it looks like he is going to pick up that 1st down. So, sorry, not Edwards.
Yeah, it was Edwards.
Yeah,
it was a good call.
Listening to the in-stadium announcer, who was obviously watching a different play to us. But yes, Adam Edwards on the carry for the 1st down. And Leicester begin to move. 0-0 here. Premiership North encounter in the heart of the Midlands here at De Montfort University. Good run, good strong run that time, and that's number 2. Is that Taylor?
Yeah, they're popping Taylor Brown in the backfield just to see if they can make something happen. You can see on the replay just keeping his legs moving and bouncing around and trying to find a gap, and that's what Taylor does. He'll always give you 100% effort on every play, and that's what you saw there.
And also picks up 8 yards, making 2nd and 2 now with Urbanski and his ability to run.
They're keeping Taylor in the backfield here.
So 2nd and 2, and it's a high snap, and this time Urbanski does keep hold of it, and he spins and dodges, and there's a flag, and that'll be a hold or an illegal block, and that one will come back.
Yep. So Urbanski and Taylor Brown just doing a bit of a double act on these couple of plays.
As I mentioned earlier, this wind has been causing havoc all around the ground.
10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Apologies for speaking over the top of the ref. It is a 10-yard penalty there, so 2nd and 12 as opposed to 2nd and 2. Yeah, this wind has been causing havoc all around the ground today. A lot of the yard markers have...
Correction, it's a 15-yard penalty and repeat 2nd down.
15-yard penalty. Was that a personal foul?
Yeah, it's a big one.
Oh, okay. So as I was saying, there are not many markers still standing around the ground due to this wind, but if you look around in the end zone nearest to us, there is one hardy end zone marker who hasn't flinched for the entirety of the game. All his mates have all given up the ghost, but he's there to the end. Strong.
I'm sure he's appreciative of the mention, and
I'll be honest,
and to give his best to his family as well. Well done, Matt.
We're talking about these strong defensive performances and standing strong throughout this one, and it's worth noting that there is that one end zone marker is still with us as Urbanski hands the ball off to Nick Jones, and Nick Jones does find a gap, and that could be close to a face mask penalty, but nothing called, and there's a Leicester lineman rather crumpled in a heap, and
it's going to be 3rd and 3.
Yeah, Ross Young making the tackle there on that one, number 33 for Edinburgh. To Nick Jones looks good when he runs with the ball. I do enjoy watching him. He's a jump cut into the hole, jumps one way, jumps left, but he's not been able to bust it.
No.
And that, it's not just that these offences have come in and they're second string. These defences have played really, really well today, and a great tackling from these Edinburgh Wolves, gang tackling. And Leicester just had nothing, not been able to bust anything.
That's
It's been a similar story for Edinburgh.
That's the key as well. I think you mentioned that. It's not only been one person tackling. Both sides have got numbers to the ball. Urbanski hands off once again, and Jones bounces out to the left-hand side. But again, great defensive work.
Yeah, and that's the other captain, Steve McDonald. So both captains coming in. If you watch defensive end play here, tries to get to the edge. We're going to slow him down, and then the rest of the defence is going to arrive and absolutely nowhere to go. And that's good play by Steve McDonald, and the rest of the Edinburgh Wolves defence played really, really well. We have seen today 2 Premiership defences, and we've seen today 2 not very good offences, let's be honest.
Absolutely, yeah, I concur with that. And you think about the scores that these defences have conceded in previous games, but that has been against, obviously, much stronger offensive competition. As Urbanski looks to try and keep this one and fall forward for a first down, it's going to be very close. And the signal from the far side is first down. So that is 1st and 10 Leicester, and they keep this drive going. This drive now that is eating up much of this fourth quarter clock.
Yeah, they're having to use all 4 downs. But you're right, Matt. It's eating the clock. And it's only going to be 1 score. And if Leicester score here on this drive and run the clock down, can Edinburgh come back? Well, they haven't been able to come back through the air.
Nope, absolutely
and we haven't seen the misdirection plays that can create a lot of yards on the ground. So this is good tactics from the Leicester Falcons. Let's use all 4 downs. Let's run this clock. Let's try and get in.
Urbanski once again on first down then. 2 receivers to his left-hand side, and one of those is Taylor Brown, who comes in motion. It's then brought back to the far side with Nick Jones, and Nick Jones once again steps. And again, it's good lateral pursuit. Close to a first down. Let's see whether or not it's signalled first down. I don't think they're going to give it him. I think it's going to be second. Oh, it is. Now signalling first down once again.
Yeah, that's a nicely designed play for the Leicester Falcons against an aggressive defence that pursues well laterally. So they change direction once, and then they change direction again with Nick Jones coming the other way, and they run an option in between. So nicely designed play. Now we're beginning to see things move. That was a first down.
Urbanski once again hands off to Jones, and Jones is met immediately this time. And the ball's out, but the whistle has been blown. The whistle has been blown. Adam Edwards does drop on it at the end, but...
Let's have a look at this replay and see whether the ball did come out before Nick got to the ground. So there's... Yeah, it's just kind of simultaneous, isn't it? But Adam Edwards recovered anyway.
So brings up second down. I think they've credited him with 3 or 4 inches on that play. Second and near enough 10. I've got like last time, I've got a feeling that this could be it. This could be the time in the game where Leicester take it on. The ball is faked to Adam Edwards, and then Urbanski keeps it once again on that option play. And
yeah, this is good defense if you watch on the edge. That 1 man high, 1 man low, let's bring him down, and that's exactly what they do right on the edge for about half a yard gain. Brings up third and 9 again.
But good discipline as well, not to bite on that inside fake, and know their assignment and keep out there waiting for Urbanski to run, which he does. So getting close to field goal attempted territory, which they did right at the beginning of this game. Again, as this time Nick Jones does bounce outside, and he's got a little bit of a hole, and he runs inside the 10 down to about the 7-yard line for another first down, and this time it'll be first and goal, and we've not said that often today.
Yeah, here's the replay. Going with that 2 running back set, they cross running backs. Nick Jones gets it, and this time defender falls down on the edge, and it opens it up for a gain of 8. You can just see what a difference it makes if you lose contain on that edge. That defender playing that force responsibility is absolutely critical. If he falls down, the whole thing falls apart. Picked up 9 yards there. Leicester threatening.
Like you say, Nick Jones' agility as well. He can make a cut and leave defenders for dead, as he proved there. And this time it's handed off once again. That's great pressure. That's number 9. Is that Hopkinson? It is. Ash Hopkinson. Called his name on offense a few times, but making his presence felt on defense on this occasion.
Yeah, you can see how quickly he gets there in the backfield. That's number 9 on Adam Edwards, and good work on the quick replays here from Joe DeMax. Our guy in the studio today is doing the work and doing some good work on these quick replays. So that's driven them back. So second and goal, but they are right at the 10-yard line now.
you've got to be thinking that field goal attempt on 4th down here, with the time running down in this 4th quarter. Urbanski with 2 receivers to his left, 1 out to the right, 2 men in the backfield, 1 either side of him. And once again it's handed off, and no, it's not handed off, and Urbanski goes straight at the middle, and the opening score of the afternoon is a Leicester one. Urbanski on the option. This time it works, and if it had been further out he would have trundled all the way. He was untouched into the end zone for the first score of the afternoon.
Yeah, they go back to traditional Leicester Falcons football. Fake the handoff to Taylor Brown, who's that danger man. Urbanski keeps it up through the A-gap, busts it through, and we have a score.
And to be fair, that was executed very well as well.
Well, it's what Leicester Falcons are good at. You know, you put 2 backs in the backfield, you put the quarterback in, the quarterback can run as well. You've suddenly got a triple run threat. Put a bit of misdirection on that, and it makes things happen.
12 men on the field for the extra point, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the try.
Illegal procedure penalty there against the Falcons, just takes the edge off that score a little, but they won't be too worried about that, will the Falcons? Because that one score could be the difference. Could that have secured the Falcons' Premiership status for 2020? Snap is down, kick is up, and this time it is good. And that football is never to be seen again. In the bushes.
Expensive, those footballs.
They are. I'm going to go and have a look for that after the game, if this young man doesn't find it, who's running off to our left now, but
so it is a 7-0 game. It's 1 touchdown, and Edinburgh. Now let's see how they can respond. If they've got anything in the playbook that Liam Brown's been practicing for this sort of situation, because remember, he's their 4th string quarterback. The amount of playbook knowledge that he's going to have is going to be very, very limited. But Edinburgh are not a stupid team. They're a Prem team. They must have and will have something up their sleeve for this sort of situation.
Now, the only other Leicester kickoff we saw was a short kickoff right at the beginning of the game, which put the Wolves in good position. Now, I only imagine with their wins at their backs and the fact that the Wolves have struggled to maintain any sort of drive, that this one is coming deep. Can't imagine they'll risk a short kick this time again.
They did do that little pooch kick, didn't they?
They did.
It's at the beginning of the game, but ever since then they've not really had a chance to kick again.
So let's see. That's a lovely kick, beautifully done, and that's well taken on the run. And it's Stuart Galloway. Stuart Galloway then reverses field, and the ball's out, and that's Leicester's football on the 20, and that could well be the ball game.
It's Taylor Brown again. The man that makes a difference always in these. If we look at this replay, 8-1 does take it beautifully. Has to move to his left, comes back to his right hand side, cutting and juking, but again doesn't secure the football. Taylor Brown's like a laser, straight in, ball out, and recovery. Forced fumble and fumble recovery to Taylor Brown.
Like
he is such a playmaker and such a difference, isn't he?
And it is the difference. We spoke about him last year in Division 1. He was always a difference maker. When we covered the games last year, he was always there or thereabouts, and he is a quality athlete. You know, in terms of this level, he is probably an elite athlete in the British game.
And he's also the one. I mean, it's worth mentioning, you know, as you did, Matt, that they nearly had the touchdown to Dignan, number 20, on the play action pass. It was Taylor Brown that denied him.
Edwards this time with the carry, and Edwards tries to get something going, but now it's just about eating clock. So it's 2nd and 9 now for the Falcons, and already knocking on the door at the 20-yard line.
So Edinburgh need a play from their defence, and the defence have played very, very well. They will, you know, they've been handed very poor field position by their special teams, which is always so frustrating as a defensive coordinator when your defence has played so well and they get backed up to here. So they will want the ball back. So let's see if they can get this ball out.
2nd down. Urbanski ready to take this again, and there's the read, and this time he gives it to Patterson, and Patterson is stood up and knocked down after a pickup. In fact, a loss of 2.
Yeah, so Patterson's really had no joy today. This is his 2nd or 3rd run, and they just play that edge so well. And it is number 9 who's trying to rip that ball out as well. That's Ash Hopkinson.
Ash Hopkinson again, indeed. Mentioned his name a few times on special teams, defence. And like you say, these Edinburgh Wolves have given a good account of themselves. It's one thing having an away game, but it's always, when you're a Scottish team travelling this far south, it's probably the furthest they're going to travel in terms of their fixtures schedule this year. As that ball is stopped once again, that's Nick Jones. Picks up nothing.
Yeah, nothing there, and that's going to bring up this long fourth down. We'll see whether Danny Burton comes on to try and put this, but make it a two-score game, which I think he is.
Well, I think if you look,
the kicker's on the field.
Yeah,
the wind is. Which way's the wind blowing, Matt?
It's coming in. Yeah, Danny's back. To be fair, so
Danny's back.
Yeah, is that why? Where's he been? But if you think about the extra point, that sailed over that high fence, if he gets the right elevation on this one, this should be snaps. It's good, looks good. Depends on the direction, and that is good for Danny Burton, adding 3 more to the Falcons account.
So Taylor Brown with the forced fumble recovery is worth 3 points. Offense didn't make any yards. In fact, they lost a couple. Danny Burton comes on and kicks from exactly where Taylor Brown recovered it. So Taylor Brown making a big difference. Danny Burton exploiting the good work of Taylor Brown.
We've got 10 points, Cole. Woohoo! Happy days.
Barely contain your excitement. I'm kind of disappointed for the Edinburgh Wolves defence, because that 3 points was not, not their doing.
No, I agree.
They've played very, very tight, but Leicester Falcons have found a way, and all credit to them, to get into the end zone using that more traditional attack that they're used to, with those kind of 3 dangerous runners, if you include the quarterback in the backfield.
Sure, this is always the beauty of this game, isn't it? It's been so tight for so long, and then literally with 5 minutes remaining in the game, unfortunately it's now got away from the visiting Wolves. But you just, like you say, all it needs is a spark. You never know. If this one goes back all the way, then we've got a new game. Let's see what Hopkinson can do. And Hopkinson takes the good straight run up to about the 34-35 yard line, where the Wolves will try again.
Yeah, it's good coverage by the Leicester Falcons as well on this play. Decent take from Hopkinson, straight up the field. Obviously a middle return. You can see those blockers gathering there, but 37 comes up, makes a tackle.
So here we go. Let's see if the Wolves can get anything going quickly. And like you say, with 5 minutes remaining in this one, it's going to have to be quick, which is going to rely on the ball being in the air sometime from Liam Brown.
Now, where's that man Dignan? Lined up right-hand side. That's when they're trying to go deep, that's who they're going to.
Yeah, deep's not. I know time's an issue, but deep's not really where you want to go with the strength of this wind and this young, inexperienced quarterback, as it's handed off on first down to Barron. And Barron's got some space off the left. Oh, my word! Guess who?
He's like a missile, isn't he, on those? I mean, he just tracks them down so quickly.
It's like a cheetah taking down a gazelle. Out of nowhere, here he comes, bang. Goodness me, not even sure Barron saw him coming out of the defensive secondary there.
Yeah, somebody needs to say, that Taylor Brown, maybe we should block him.
Be a good idea. 2nd and 7, maybe 8 coming, and when Barron appeared to have some daylight in front of him, Taylor Brown snuffed that out all too quickly. And here he comes again, and it's handed off, and that's great penetration to that offensive line. Number 43 for the Falcons.
Yes, Richard High. We called his name and number. He's a good linebacker, Richard High. He's made 3 or 4 good tackles today. He's big, rangy, long arms, difficult to get away from. So Steve's defence turning up the pressure now on this Edinburgh Wolves. They know they're going to have to do something here on 3rd down. See whether Rob Burkhart dials up the blitz.
So from 1st and 10, it goes to 2nd and 8, and then back to 3rd and 10. After that Richard High defensive contribution. And here comes Liam Brown, fields a high snap, he fakes, and then he goes over the middle, and that's unfortunately out of the reach of number 85, Bruce Callan, which will bring up 4th down.
Yeah, it just shows the nerves. It shows the kind of inexperience of Liam Brown in that situation. Critical 3rd and 10, need to make something happen. I mean, and on this special teams play as well, you want to watch out for that fake. I'm sure the Leicester Falcons will be wise to it. With less than we must have 4 minutes to go, something like that now. I'm sure those plays didn't take too much time off the clock, to be honest. maybe 3.5, 4 minutes to go.
Sure. But at the same time, I suppose it's damage limitation. If you can put the ball in the air, on special teams, anything can happen. Less likely to when you've got Taylor Brown still at the other end. And that's not a great snap, and the ball is, once again, takes a Wolves bounce, skips across halfway before it trundles out of bounds. And on come the Falcons to do more of what they've been doing in the previous 3 quarters, and that is run the football.
Well, yeah, you put Abansky in the middle of 2 decent running backs. You get Taylor Brown one side, you get Nick Jones the other side, and you run this clock down, and you walk out of here with a 7-0 win, and you're still in the hunt to retain a Premiership place.
So a word from our sponsors, Growth Partners. Our mission is to make employers' lives easier and make employees' working environments a happier and healthier space for businesses to thrive. Our vision is to aspire to build the UK's #1 employee engagement platform that gives UK businesses of all sizes access to affordable expert-level services. That's Growth Partners. As Urbanski will take the snap on first down. No doubt this will stay with either him or his running back, who at the moment is Adam Edwards to his left. Taking a long time to get this play off, and there it comes. And it is indeed, in fact, it's that man Nick Jones, and Nick Jones again been successful off that left side, just going outside the tackle, bouncing.
Jason Gray on the tackle there for Edinburgh, just avoiding any more yards for Nick Jones. But yeah, this is the game plan now. We're going to run right, we're going to run left, just wear it down, run the clock, and Edinburgh can't really do anything unless they can try and rip this ball out.
That's what they need now. They need a turnover and a quick score, and that still won't necessarily be enough. And as you've mentioned, those gaps are appearing, particularly outside the tackles now, and Jones is exploiting those with his agility and his speed off that cut. Abansky on 2nd and 4 now. And here it comes. That's faked, and this time it's given on to the right side to Edwards. And Edwards, the ball is out! The ball is out, but as has been the way, it would appear that the Falcons have dropped and managed to cover that one.
Yeah, that covers Adam Edwards' blushes, because that's the last thing you want. Carrying the ball in one hand, needs to cover that ball up, and out it comes. And if you carry the ball with one hand against this Edinburgh Wolves defence, they are going to try and rip it out.
Let's give Austin Pantlin a shout out there for recovering that fumble, and as you say, covering Edwards' blushes. But I think does bring up 4th down, and a timeout has been called, I believe. So it gives me opportunity once again to shout out today's game partners. Boss Construction. They're an independent building contractor specialising in conversions, alterations and extensions.
Timeout Edinburgh. That's their second charge timeout of the second half.
Boss Construction aim to deliver a stunning finish at affordable prices. They also want to make you, the consumer, have as an enjoyable and painless experience as possible in order for you to enjoy your new home. That's Boss Construction. And our final partner for this afternoon is Cross Productions. Cross Productions' unique blend of creative ideas and digital campaigns are all designed with one key ingredient in mind, which is to help your business grow and reach new heights in this ever so competitive digital industry. From strategic consultancy services, bespoke design and development campaigns, right until planning your big launch, they deliver the full package to help you on your road to success. That's Cross Productions. So here we go then on 3rd down and 4. Abansky once again looking to pick up this first down and all but kill the game off, if it hasn't been already, with that 10-0 advantage that the Falcons currently hold. Taking forever on the snap count just to run that clock down as much as possible again. And this is that Taylor? Can't catch the number.
Taylor Brown off the right hand side, and that's going to move the chains and make it very, very difficult, if not impossible, for this Edinburgh team to come back now. So they took Adam Edwards off the film, out of the game after that fumble, and Taylor Brown comes on and gets the job done off the right hand side.
So here we go then, 1st down it is once again. First down, Urbanski and the Falcons, for them to pick up their 2nd win of the season and help their campaign to remain in the Prem.
Yeah, and that's the bright side of this game, isn't it? That it looks like Leicester are going to come It looks like Leicester are going to come away as we hit the 2-minute warning here. It looks like Leicester are going to come away with a win, which is the first win that they've had in some time. They've been on the road for 5 games, lost all of them. They come home, they get the win.
So, on first down, the ball is handed off to Taylor Brown once again. Who are you going to give the football to in these sort of situations? Your man with the safest hands, as Taylor comes up limping a little bit gingerly on that left ankle, but all seems well.
Yeah, Taylor Brown, they're obviously just relying on him now to run this clock down these last couple of minutes. I don't know whether Edinburgh are looking just to try and stay in this.
Timeout, Edinburgh. That's their third and final timeout of the second half.
So Edinburgh take their last time out and really in their last chance saloon now to try and get back into this one. They need to make something happen on this play, and it's getting increasingly unlikely. Looks like Leicester are going to walk away with a victory, 10-0.
At the conclusion of this game, we'll take a little break, and then Carlisle will wrap up this afternoon's proceedings. Looking just on this final opportunity to give you a few final updates from the Britball Nation. Thanks to Nick and the crew at Double Coverage for providing us with these updates. The Merseyside Nighthawks 20-0 ahead of the Sheffield Giants. Farnham beating the Kent Exiles, or have beaten the Kent Exiles 28-13. The Warriors now 47-7 ahead of the Olympians. That's still in the third quarter, so that one's getting ugly fast after the Olympians were holding the Warriors 7-7 at one stage in the second period. And we'll come back to more shortly after we see Nick Jones again off that same left end, and flags come down, and those flags are in the vicinity of holding once again. So we'll see what happens with that. In the NFC 1 North, the East Kilbride Pirates 30-7 ahead of the Glasgow Tigers. The Yorkshire Rams beating the Gateshead Senators 53 points to 7. First 50 burger.
During the run, illegal use of hands in the back. Number 26 of the offence. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat second down.
So there is that illegal blocking the back penalty against the Falcons, negating Nick Jones's big run. So that'll bring up second and long now. Maybe 15-16, second and long. What else have we got for you then? We have got the Sussex Thunder trailing the Berkshire Renegades 6-3, and the Portsmouth Dreadnoughts 36-17 ahead of the Oxford Saints. And once again, Taylor Brown barrages forward on second down. Picks up a yard or two on second down. Carrying on with our scores for the afternoon, the Clyde Valley Blackhawks beating the Darlington Steam 30-0. The Leeds Bobcats 44-0 against the Nottingham Raiders. That's a full time for you. Bristol Apache 28-0 ahead of the Cornish Sharks. Lots of shutouts this afternoon, particularly in Division 2. The London Blitz B team shutting out the Hastings Conquerors 39-0. Norwich Devils 3-0 against the East Essex Sabres. That's a full time, a 3-0. And then the East Kent Mavericks 22-13 over the Maidstone Pumas currently. As once again, that's Jones off to this right hand side, and he's dragged down short of a first down, which will bring up 4th and 4. So lots of scores around the country this afternoon. We have got a 10-0 scoreline here. As we can see here, Nick Jones on this replay. It's where he's been comfortable running outside that tackle.
Yeah, he does
bouncing
well.
To the outside. Sorry, Cole.
No, go ahead, Matt. I mean, he bounces to the edge there, and I think this Edinburgh team is tired now. Leicester Falcons been on the field a long time with the turnovers as well. So
here we go, 4th down. Timeout Falcons. So, Carl, both teams then, not so long ago.
Leicester.
Not so long ago we were 0-0 and we were wondering about that tie. Now we walk away and the Wolves drop to still only 1 win on the season. The Falcons up to 2. Where do both outfits go from here? Particularly if you think about the Falcons, who are welcoming the Tamworth Phoenix this time next week.
Well, the Falcons need to do... I mean, the Falcons have shown that if they're going to have a Bansky in the backfield playing quarterback, his clear strength is running. And they've had success on that drive in Q4, using those it's effectively a 3 running back set. You've basically got Abansky in the middle and then running backs to either side of him, and that's what they need to come into Tamworth doing. So they know that Tamworth is going to be difficult. As you said earlier, they're a wounded animal. They're coming from a 21-0 defeat from Manchester, and they're going to come into here fighting. But unless they have to do what they're good at, which is running the football.
So here's 4th down. Let's see if they can put this final nail in the Wolves' coffin and convert here. You'd expect, well, you've got Jones and Brown and Abansky in there, and it is Abansky who keeps the ball. That's battling hard to the end of these Wolves.
Yeah, it's Steve McDonald again. He's been an absolute standout player for me. He's captain of this Edinburgh Wolves team, and he's just he's tackling Nick Jones on the sideline. He's making sacks on Abansky again, and he's just fought all the way through. He's come down all the way from Edinburgh, and he's balled out today in Leicester.
Later in the year, in July, this is an interesting one. We spoke about where the Falcons will go, speaking of the fact that they've got the Phoenix next week, but there's still this reverse fixture for the Falcons to travel up to Edinburgh. They've still got to contend with that, and on the basis of this, that journey has to have some impact on these visiting Wolves. They'll have had an early start this morning, I assume. I'm not sure that they stayed over last night anywhere.
They came down this morning.
So that's always going to be a factor as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the Falcons manage that on their journey north of the border later in July.
No, you're absolutely right, Matt. It does take its toll on the team. It means that you can't field as many players as you would like, and if you're missing a couple of star players because they can't make a long trip, things get tricky.
Let's see if the Wolves can build anything in these last couple of minutes to give them a little bit of hope moving forward. And that's a nice completion, nice pass, and he dances up close to 1st down. No flags on the play, and that was a nice pass there.
Yeah, that's George Fell, number 87, on the reception towards the sideline. But Liam Brown will gain a bit more confidence for his next game with a completion like that.
Yeah, sure, and that could well be, and it is signalled 1st down. So positive there for Brown and the Wolves.
Offside on the defence. The penalty will be declined. Result of the play is a 1st down.
So there we go. If they hadn't
on the ready.
If they hadn't have had that completion, they would have gained positive yardage anyway. But that will do Brown's confidence no end. Just slinging it out to his left-hand sideline. Little bubble screen almost there to his receiver. So let's see if he can keep this positivity going for the remainder of this game. A low snap this time. He had to deal with some particularly, but when he floats that one, that's a beautifully taken ball. And number 81 trundles down the sideline, and he's still on his feet, close to pay dirt, and it's going to be very, very close. Lost sort of sight of him.
I think he was tackled inbounds. It means that that's the end of the game. They've got no timeouts and can't stop the clock. So Edinburgh are battling to the very last of this one, but it is going to end up with a Leicester victory, Matt.
But look at this one. What a nice couple of plays. A little bit of confidence there, particularly for Liam Brown there. He's had a completion on that previous play, keeps his eyes downfield, floats the ball out to his receiver, who manages to take off, make a defender miss, make another defender miss, and just get dragged down just maybe 5 yards short of the goal line. But nevertheless, that game in the 4th quarter was, from my point of view, from an offensive point of view, was a little bit more entertaining than the first 3, but I cannot doubt the strength of both defences in their contribution to what has been a successful outing for this Leicester Falcons team. With our final score here of the Leicester Falcons 10 and the Edinburgh Wolves 0, we'll quickly get to an advert break. We'll then come back and wrap this one up as soon as you've heard from our sponsors for this afternoon. So Leicester 10, Edinburgh 0. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Dragonfly Productions are a full-service live event production company. We can cater for all your event needs with a turnkey solution, or can support you with individual needs. We can supply production design, on-site production management, environmental design, scenic design, exhibition design and build, audio-visual design and delivery, and global support. We offer international reach and experience with partners on every continent, so quality is always assured, in-house branding and design capabilities, an in-house scenic workshop, and an in-house video production team. From a small meeting to a large symposium, your meeting will get the same attention to detail. Dragonfly Productions.
Welcome back to De Montfort University here in the heart of the Midlands, where we have our final scoreline this afternoon of the home Leicester Falcons 10 and the visiting Edinburgh Wolves 0. So we did get a result in the end, Carl, after that defensive struggle, which, like you say, is very impressive.
Yeah.
But just what was the difference in the end?
Well, we did think it was going to be a 0-0. I think by the end we didn't think any of these teams were going to break the deadlock. But I think in the end it was an offensive decision to go with a more familiar offensive formation, which is Bansky, who's a good running quarterback, as we saw today, and flanked on either side by decent running backs. When they brought Taylor Brown into the game, I thought that made a big difference in terms of just bringing in a bit more energy and a bit more just ability, really athletic ability at that running back position. Nick Jones played well the whole game and made his presence felt. In the end, the score came from Bansky himself, which was using Taylor Brown as a decoy and then running up, keeping the ball and running up the middle himself for a 7-yard touchdown. And that's all she wrote, really, in terms of scores, wasn't it?
I think what Taylor also offers you is security. He's doesn't make very many errors. You know what you're going to get with him, and it could have so easily gone the other way when early in that third period, Liam Brown obviously looked to connect using the wind and using that play action and that pitch play action, and he looked to connect to Dignan, and it was that man again who just snuffed it out, Taylor Brown, with a fantastic interception. 3
times they went to that play. It was the only one where they were trying to get Dignan deep. And 3 times, 2 incompletions, and then it did look like it was going to be complete. In the last second, Taylor Brown running across the field and able to pick it out of the receiver's hands almost. And that's just the brilliance of him. He really did make the difference today, Taylor Brown. He's definitely my MVP from a Leicester Falcons perspective.
I concur with that completely. I mean, it's as cliched as it is. It often is talked about as a game of inches, and today was a case in point of that. When you think about that interception that Taylor made on the 2-yard line, where it looked like for all the world the Wolves were going to take it in, and then the odd little error from the Wolves on defence, and that score to put them 7-0 up. Then immediately the fumble on the ensuing kickoff, indeed, and before you know it, Dan Burton comes on, kicks another 3, and that's pretty much the game.
Yeah, and who was it that caused the forced fumble and the recovery? It's Taylor Brown again. He really was the man that made the difference today, and his skill and his elite class, which is what he has, really made the difference in terms of Leicester Falcons winning this game. And Edinburgh Wolves don't have a similar player to Taylor Brown, a guy that can play special teams, offence and defence, and made the difference. But you can't rely just on Taylor Brown, and I think that's where Leicester have struggled,
sure,
as they've been away from their home field. But they come back home. They've been on the road. They come home and they get the win.
Absolutely. We spoke briefly in commentary about the fact that that's another win for Leicester, makes them a little more secure in the division, but they still have to make that trip up to Edinburgh. And obviously, if tables are reversed and Edinburgh manage to pull that one out, if they're the only 2 games that both teams win this year, it's going to come down to be very close towards the end again.
You get the sense that if Edinburgh had their third string quarterback, it would have been a different game, and they would have been more competitive on the offensive side of the ball. As it was, their offense was pretty one-dimensional. Edinburgh, they had to rely on just the runs, and as a result, it was difficult really for them to really threaten, especially after Taylor Brown had scored. Although they did seem to come to life. I mean, you were bemoaning the fact it was such a defensive battle, and you were right, because once the score came on, Edinburgh did come to life, sure, and they were driving towards the end of the game there.
So I think, if you're thinking about things, what are Edinburgh going to take out of this? Obviously, the defensive effort is going to be a bonus, and Coach Edmondson's got to rally his troops and say, look, boys, you've come all this way, and we've dug in, we've kept it close all that way, and really, like we say, 1 or 2 plays, which often is what all the difference is in football. 1 or 2 plays is what's made us always be elusive. That elusive win today, but equally the last two plays from Liam Brown, the last two completions, and coming within 5 yards of the end zone, going against the wind as well, and he kept his eyes downfield well on that very last play and connected with his receiver. There's going to be positives there as well.
It was interesting what Don Edmondson was saying, head coach of Edinburgh Wolves, before the game. He was saying these teams get to know each other, and now Edinburgh have played Leicester. They know how Leicester play. They know how the defence. They've got some video to look at as well. And like you say, on that return journey, that will be a difficult fixture for Leicester on the return. So Edinburgh will say, let's try and get the return win.
I can see over your shoulder a couple of Falcons. I think are going to come and join us. Do you want to step in, gents? Yeah, you both come in, Taylor, and you come. Congratulations,
Nick.
Congratulations, Taylor.
Come and stand in the middle.
How you doing?
Yeah, come and stand in the middle.
So gents, obviously going into that fourth quarter, 0-0. What's your mindset going into that one?
To be honest, we were running the ball really well today. We tried to pass it, tried to open things up a bit, and it didn't really happen for us. So we kind of said, let's stick with what works. And we just thought, we'll pound it. If they stop us, they stop us. If they don't, well, the result happens just like it did, didn't it? So. And
at one stage, Taylor, obviously in the third quarter, Liam's gone long looking for his receiver, and you've managed to get in there and act as receiver and make a real spectacular interception there. Talk us through that play.
So basically, what I've always been taught as a DB, when that ball is in the air, become a receiver, go get it. So I saw the opportunity, made the play, but I think I was in the end zone on that. I don't think I was on the one, but we came back for it, so it was good. It was all right, good play.
And field position, obviously, with the win today, field position with both offenses struggling, if you like. And I know, obviously, from a quarterback situation for you guys, but equally from the Wolves, it was always going to be a defensively dictated game. You come on, Taylor, and unfortunately for you, always, whenever we've covered you, it's always sort of Taylor that makes the difference. Taylor's there to make that interception. He's there to create the fumble on that kickoff and recover that. And some of the hits you put in, one of the ones late on in the game where you just come out of nowhere and take the man down. I think from our point of view, the contribution that you make is usually the difference. And Carl spoke in the game, and maybe today Taylor was the MVP, even though it is a massively team-orientated event. I'm sorry about this. What does he mean to this team?
Oh, he's huge. I mean, he's even stepping up. He's making plays on offense for us. You can undervalue the amount of work that Taylor puts in, not only on the field, but with the coaching and helping the guys prepare for games. So, he's our MVP, But
then flip this away with the other side. The running this guy made today, some fantastic plays, bouncing outside. We thought the contain that these guys had, both outside contain for a start, to be able to get around that defensive front, of the Wolves was fantastic. So talk about his contribution as well.
I think that he actually kept us in this game. So there was a couple of times where our backs against the wall. We need a 5-6 yard pop. I knew he was going to get it.
Yeah.
And he saw it all game. He got that extra inch, and I think that's what gave us the edge at the end. So. Good running all around for him.
Nick, how have you found it? Because I know you played in GFL as well. How have you found it playing a Premiership? How many games have you played? The last 4 or 5 games for Leicester, and how have you found it?
It's different. It's the difference between the UK game and the GFL is night and day. One's professional, one's amateur, and when you look at anything like two sports where one's different to another because it's amateur and professional, it's always standard is different. If you're paying guys, they're going to be better. They're going to be better coached. You're going to have better facilities, but the UK game's growing all the time. As long as they keep pushing in the right direction, doing things to help grow the game, there's no reason why, 5-6 years down the line, UK game can't be just as good as GFL.
And it felt like, to me anyway, this Edinburgh defence did a good job, because whenever you ran, you got that great dynamism, great speed. I see you doing these jump cuts in the holes. It's fantastic stuff. But they were a good defence today, I thought, Edinburgh.
Yeah, up front they were huge. I know their D-line coach Shark, so he had those guys drilled, but it's our O-line today were unbelievable. Every time I touch a ball, I'd look up and there was just a huge space, and if there was no space, our receivers were doing a hell of a job blocking the guys on the outside. So it was just one of those games where things clicked for us, and we just got to work now and training this week and push forward for the next game against Tamworth.
And finally, we spoke to Coach Cassar at the beginning, and it looks like a 3-horse race in terms of the relegation between you, Sheffield, and the Wolves. You're coming up against Tamworth, obviously coming off the back of a 21-0 shutout. That's like a wounded animal coming in here. What have you got to do to sort of be ready for the Phoenix next week?
I think defensively, if we just limit those big plays, I think the last time we played them, we played up, before the half. We had a good defensive performance, and they got a couple that broke away, gave them a big lead before half. So I think if we limit the big plays and offense is moving the ball, I think we'll give a better performance against them.
Well, gentlemen, thank you ever so much for your time, and congratulations on the victory today. Wish you all the best for the season. We'll see you next week.
Congrats, Taylor. Well done.
Take care.
Yeah, a couple of athletes there, Matt.
Absolutely, always good to hear from those guys.
Look good, didn't they?
They absolutely, yeah, always sucking the gut and all that. But no, good to hear from those guys, and obviously a positive stance. It would have been difficult to go into that Tamworth game next week with another loss today, so it just buoys them on a little bit.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that they are in the Premiership. This is not Div 1. I know we said it. We've not seen Leicester Falcons for 4 games, and so this is Premiership football. They've got another Premiership win. That's 2
Absolutely.
Premiership wins, and they did have very high aspirations coming in. If they stay up, they'll have done well, won't they, Leicester?
They will. Well, they're one step closer to securing their Premiership status for next season with a 10-0 victory here against the visiting Edinburgh Wolves. The Leicester Falcons march on and to take on the Tamworth Phoenix next week. And all being well, we'll be back at Leicester Lions Rugby Football Club for that one in Blaby. So thank you very much for joining us today. Thanks to Tom, to Steve, to Joe, Alex and all the crew here for putting it on. Thanks, Todd. It's been enjoyable as ever.
Thanks, Matt. Been great doing it again. Let's do it again sometime.
We'll come back next week. Join us then here on UK AFL for the Tamworth Phoenix against the Leicester Falcons. That's next Sunday at 2:30. We look forward to seeing you then. Goodbye for now.